Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, viewers of all ages, from Allan touching his nose all the way to Canada to the millions watching at home, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I am just one of your hostess with the mostest, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, Clayton Kisco, and I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom Gamers. And on this podcast today, we have the bad boy himself, Cop Show's #1 fan, Steve Landis. That was really good, Steve. You got it on that one.
Okay.
What you do? Next up is the Tower, Allan Toner. How's it going, Allan?
Hi.
Hello. And last but not least, the man you can hear, but you will not see until we get $40 more on patreon.com/maelstromgamers, the Enigma, Ian.
Why, hello.
Really good bow. Those for you listening on the MP3, make sure you check the YouTube. You can see his bow. It's pretty good.
Right.
We have a pretty great show for you today. We're going to be talking about some future stuff in honor of Back to the Future's anniversary and the fact that we recently just passed the Back to the Future date, which was pretty cool. We can talk about that. We were talking about some Star Wars, some football, some bunch of different stuff. I'm pretty excited. Before we get into the show, however, we should talk about the format for those of you guys who don't know, right? So, for those of you guys who don't know, the Maelstrom Gamers hop on the Skype. We each bring a topic for your discussion, but more importantly, for our discussion, but more importantly, for your entertainment. And each topic is on YouTube, topic by topic, video by video, released Monday through Friday, and the full episode's on Saturday. And all that's for free. But if you'd like to support us and give us just as little as $1, you can go on to patreon.com/maelstromgamers, and we'll put that dollar back into the show. Only $1, and we'll put it into getting better mics, better equipment, better computers, better internet, better stuff in all the show. And then you get rewards too. By giving $1, we'll give you an exclusive episode that's not on YouTube and that's only on Patreon. For like $5 and $10, you'll get like MP3s early, videos early, all different types of stuff. So be sure to check that out. Kind of feel if you're in a given mood. If not, it's okay. There's free ways to support us too. You can go on our Facebook page and like us. You can go onto our YouTube page, subscribe, comment, and you can go on our Twitter and follow us. We have an Instagram account. So there's a lot of different ways. It's super, super helpful. Those of you guys have been doing it so far, thank you so much. It's been really cool to see you guys share our stuff and talk with us, and it's been fun talking back to you about the different things and the podcast topics that we've come up with. So that's the rigmarole. Real quick, before we go into our first topic, Steve, what hot chocolate do you pick? Peppermint or salted caramel?
Salted caramel.
No, wrong. It's always peppermint. There's no better combination.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go on to our first topic, and I'm going to pick on the bad boy. So why don't you?
There you go.
Mine was going to be. It says first time any of you broke the law.
Huh.
You guys have any moments of that?
Do you want to start off?
Yeah, I'll start off with this. The first time I did was I remember we were driving cross country from Colorado, moving to Florida. Actually, I was with my aunt, my mom, and my little sister at the time. I remember I had this this bright neon pink jacket overcoat, and I always had the secret pockets on the side. Right? You gotta remember the secret pockets.
Yeah.
We go to a gas station, right? And I don't know why or what I was thinking at the time, but like I wanted the Slim Jim, right? And I asked my mom could I have the Slim Jim, and she said no. She said absolutely not.
Moms, right? Dude, tell me about it.
Dude, say no more. You're
Yeah.
Finish. I
Yeah,
understand.
I know. Huge treat. That was before all the snap to the Slim Jim, everything. It was
Right.
before that. I can't believe it was that long ago though too. But anyways.
And how old were you?
Oh, I was. Let's see, we're across 9. I was 9. Yeah, 9
Okay.
at the time.
Okay.
And let's see. I was like, I remember at the moment I was sitting there, I had it in my hand, I was just carrying it around the store, and she told me to put it back. You know, like mom does, put it back. And I just was like, just went like this and just tucked it in, just right in that pocket right there, and it's giant Slim Jim.
Bad boy.
And it's
Just sticking out.
Just
Yeah.
walked out. I just remember that and everything. I remember we're
You didn't give
driving.
you give no fucks.
No, I was like,
Hashtag
this
thug
is-
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9-year-old with a Slim
Jim.
Jim. Yeah. Deal with it.
The best part was trying to eat this thing without my mom seeing because we were on the same car, right? And I wanted that Slim Jim, so I'm like,
Yeah, he can't wait to get
unwrapping
home.
it. No, we were driving cross country, so we're like
Oh,
in the
yeah,
middle.
right.
Oh, this is in the middle of Texas, by the way, because Texas was like the longest to drive
Oh
through.
man, they'll kill you for stealing Slim Jim there.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Allan knows he's from the Big Star State.
Yeah,
Lone Star.
Lone Star, Big Star.
Yeah, it's a Lone Star and a Big Star. There's 2 stars. It's on the flag. Yeah, no, it totally is.
It's just Lone Star.
The Lone Star has to be big because there's no other stars to fill the space on the flag.
That's true, but you don't refer to the state as the
All right. Well, anyways, I'm sitting there. Yeah, I'm sitting there, and I'm like opening the wrapper. Like, I mean, it's quiet in the car. My aunt's driving. My mom's in the passenger seat. I'm behind her, and I'm opening it up, and I just remember going like this, just like eating it, just eating, taking little bites at a time.
It's good technique. I like
And the best part is that I got caught. Right. I mean, it wasn't the best part, but my mom's. I took off my jacket because it was getting hot. Right. Because we're in Texas, and I remember my mom was like searching through the back seat because I was sitting in the front seat for some reason, and she's like, "What is this?" And she just pulls it out, and I just remember my heart dropped. I'm like, "No."
What did you think
This
was
is-
gonna happen?
I thought my mom was gonna beat the shit out of me, honestly. I was
Just
so.
Hit.
But if my aunt wasn't there, probably. But
Think she'd rub your nose in the Slim Jim wrapper, get it all greasy.
no. The worst part is that at the next gas station, like this is probably almost in the next state. She made me get out, go pay the money for the Slim Jim, like to the clerk, and tell them what I did and pay them the money. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm telling them like, what? They don't even know. And she's like, exactly, go in there and tell them. And I remember I had to like sit there and say, I stole a Slim Jim, and I put it like right there on the counter and everything. And the lady was like, I can't take the money. And my mom's like, no, you take the money. Like, go like that.
You
know
take
what I
that
mean?
money.
You
take
take that money. I'm trying to take the money. So I'm like, take that money. And I just remember feeling so bad afterwards, and I never did it again, even if it was like 89 cents or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, it just felt so bad afterwards.
So you never stole again?
No, I never stole again.
Are you sure?
I'm positive I never stole again.
Nothing you want to tell us?
I mean, unless you
What
count
about this
like.
video I have right here?
Yeah. Steve's like, oh fuck, I don't know, maybe I did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that time. And this video. Oh yeah, and that time too. And
yeah.
There's
A
a
bank
reason behind it.
robbery. A bank
That's
robbery.
like, Alan, that's like when you ever watch To Catch a Predator. And,
yeah.
and they get the guy and he's like, no, I never. He's
I
like,
never
yeah,
did
well, what
that.
about this joint? He's like,
what about
well,
this video
yeah.
right here? Yeah.
He's like, well, that time. But that was it. But what about this? Well, yeah, that too, I guess. That was it.
What I
Um,
consider.
I think I had a very similar experience as Steve when I first committed a crime.
Ooh.
Felony or misdemeanor?
I don't even think it's a misdemeanor. Really. I mean, yeah, it's stealing also.
Yeah.
So
That's-
I think I was even younger than 9. I want to say this is kindergarten or first grade.
So you're like 6.
6 or 7, yeah. And same thing, we were in the grocery store, and you know, I don't know if they do this anymore, but they had the one kind of like little kiosk that had all the different candies. You know, now they have like an aisle that has all the candy, and you can like fill a bag with however much you want. But they used to have kind of like sitting in the middle of like right next to the like the fruit and vegetable aisle or something, and they had like little like caramels and like peppermints and everything. So we were walking by that, and I was like, Mom, I want to grab like some caramels or something. And she was like, no, you can't have any this time. So sure enough, she's at the checkout line. I like scoot back there, grab one, only one, you know, and it only costs, I think, less than 25 cents if you want to take one. They have like a little jar you can drop a coin in to take it.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
So I just like took it, and then I'm like, okay. Like, and for whatever reason, I couldn't wait 10 minutes to eat this thing. So she's walking outside of the store, and I think I'm being like a little clever motherfucker. I take it out of my pocket, I'm holding it in my one hand, and I like spin in front of my mom, so I like face the other way and like put it in my mouth right at that moment, and then like come back around. But like, of course, she sees me. I have like this giant like caramel, you know, that was like this big in my mouth. Like, She's like, what do you have in your mouth? I was like, oh, nothing. And she like grabs my hand because I'm still holding the wrapper, of course.
Oh yeah.
She's like her face dropped. I think it was like so stunning to my mom that I would even think about stealing. I think that was like the most shocking part to her. She was kind of thinking like, what happened to my son? You know, like why would he be doing this? Who taught him this type of thing? Anyway, she did.
I learned it from you, Ma.
Exactly. Oh my god, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
She made me bring a quarter back into the store, but the worst part for sure was telling the store clerk that I took the caramel. I was like,
Oh wow.
I stole this from over here. I mean, he was just like, I think he was not a teenager or anything. He was definitely a little bit older, and he was just like kind of felt bad. But he was like, okay, well, you can put the money, right over here. But definitely that look that I saw on my mom's face when I turned around and she could see I stole this was something that I'll never forget, for sure.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
That is bad.
That is
I think I did steal stuff after that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've stolen since then, but I probably thought of my mom's face at that
Just name
time.
them off real quick. What'd you steal?
All the things?
Car, millionaires, money,
This is
case of diamonds.
of course.
Your Kiko's heart.
Oh snap! That was good. I like that. Yeah, you stole Kiko's heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Very
Yeah.
It's true.
Trying to think. I don't think I ever stole anything. I mean, I did eventually, but not like.
You killed
Not like physically.
So-
Yeah, I just kill people, guys. I don't do this petty stealing. No, I guess technically I steal. Like Napster might have been the first instance for me. Right. So I don't think it counts either. So I'll put that aside.
FBI's
I don't think
I.
I.
Right now.
What? I don't think I've ever stolen anything.
I bet
But
in all
I
the
w-
years you used Napster, you probably only stole like a total of 20 songs because it took so long to download everything.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh.
And it would stop, and if it stopped and lost connection, you have to start over, and it would take another 2 days. Yeah, it took me like forever to get 11 songs, like a CD.
Oh, man.
But I will say that like when I was in middle school, my friend Kelly and Mike, we were all hanging out by this like strip mall with pizza and stuff, and I think we were all hungry and bored. Obviously, we're teenagers, and those two decided that they would go into. I don't know. We got into an argument, and I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. So I rode my bike back, and then I was like, I had time. I had time to reflect on my ride back on my bicycle, and I decided that I might have gotten too heated and that it wasn't that big of a deal. So I waited for them at Kelly's house until they got back. But yeah, well, I wasn't the only one. I came back and there was a bunch of other people in the neighborhood, friends that were just chilling. I was like, oh hey, what up, blah blah blah, and we were just hanging out. And then I just see Kelly, I believe it was Kelly. She came back on her bike and was like, just like kind of white a little bit and just distraught. And I was like, hey, what's up? Where's Mike? What happened? She's like, cops came. Yeah, I was like, I was pretty much like, I think he's getting arrested. And I was like, wait, what? And she proceeded to tell me the story that those two went into like the Wawa, which is like your chain convenience store in New Jersey. And they decided that'd be a great idea to like just steal shit that they wanted, like a WWE magazine because we were really into wrestling, and like candy, and like it's just easy, right? So they do it, but on their way out, the guy like grabs them. He's like, "Excuse me, let me see underneath your like coat," and they just had to like kind of like, and I think Kelly like ran or something, but Mike got caught or whatever, and like, and so the guy called the cops, and the cops had to come and like. Not interrogate, but basically talk to Mike or whatever, and like he had to like go through that role. And I just remember being like, yeah, that is the stupidest thing you guys could have thought of doing. like why, you know what I mean? Like so, but and that might have been my own like, had I not argued with them, maybe I was like felt peer pressure to like do it with them or whatever. But the fact that I left and then the fact that they got in trouble, I was like, yeah, I'm with you in this hindsight moment. It doesn't sound like a good idea. I'm never doing this. So physical stealing, I don't think wasn't ever a thing. I really am trying hard to think of something.
Did you ever think about stealing like at any time?
That's what I'm trying to like. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I'm in Toys R Us going, man, I wish I could just take all this. But like the things they're behind
I could just
cases.
put this right
you know
in
what I
my
mean?
pants or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely. I thought about it, but if I don't think I've ever actually seriously considered doing it. And then first crime, I would say probably.
Speeding or something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say speeding, running a
Yeah.
stoplight, like something dumb
Yeah.
and mediocre like that.
Running
Like,
over somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's got to be something I did that was stupid.
Put
Anyway,
that cyclist on Route 44.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
buried him
so,
in the woods.
yeah, that's got to be. I'm boring in that case. I did have a group of friends that for a high school party, my friend Josh and Nate, there was like this like sushi restaurant slash hibachi. If you guys aren't familiar with hibachi, it's like where you sit with a bunch of other people and they like cook all the rice and stuff in front of you, and they do like the volcano with the onions and the choo-choo. It's really fun. If you have a chance to go to a hibachi place, I highly suggest
With
it.
the
Really
choo-choo?
Yeah, they cut up an onion and then they
Yeah.
stack it and then they pour oil and then
Yeah,
it
that's
like
a volcano. You're not the
and but then if the cook is really good, he'll also show you the choo choo, which is after the volcano is like on fire and it's just
Oh,
smoke.
yeah.
He
I feel so
moves.
bad right now because I've never.
Yeah,
seen
he moves the
Moves it.
onions. You go choo 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 choo.
I've never seen that. Yeah. Damn. I've been to it like 100 times and I've never seen the
Steve
choo-choo.
just
I'm so
had,
mad
like-
now. Because they took away all the arigatos in this area, so I'll never be able to see the choo-choo ever again.
Nah, unless you come to New Jersey, you go to the hibachi place that I'm talking about.
Heck no.
Anyway, this hibachi place is on a golf course, and there's a huge golf course connected to it. So they have to have this giant bar, and I guess they were restocking their liquor. And my buddies they were like, okay, yeah, all you guys can come over. We'll get like, we'll get beer and all this shit. And like they really came up short. They ended up with like a 6-pack, and they're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? So they saw this like gold mine of liquor, and they just apparently jumped in when the guys went back to the truck and just loaded up on like 10 bottles of liquor.
Wow.
And they just like jet. So those guys I know committed that crime.
They got away with it?
Yeah, they took the fucking bottles and they ran, and then we all partied and had a great time off that liquor.
So stealing works, kids.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, you should know.
So did you know that? Did you know this before you were drinking liquor?
Yeah, it was like, hey, by the way, you know how we got this liquor? And we're like, nah, man, how'd you get it? And they're like, well, we just stole it. We're like, cool.
Did you feel guilty at all while you were drinking?
No,
No.
not at all. I'm a poor high school kid. This golf course is
Trying to
making
get
tons of
drunk.
money. Yeah, I know.
Well,
I'm not thinking about that.
I had a similar story of stealing at a convenience store. It was like right down the road from my parents' house, and I have a brother that's 8 years older than me. So, of course, instead of him doing it, he had me do it. And so I went in there. I think it was like friend were sitting right outside the convenience store. So like we weren't even like sneaky at all or anything. We're just idiots.
Yeah.
And when I walked out, the store clerk walked out with us, and we all three looked at him. He goes, "Hey, you guys stop right there," and we just jetted. We took off. Yeah. And my brother, because I remember standing there like frozen, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. He goes, "Run!" And we just yeah. And we went running through our neighborhood, and we got away with it, which was pretty crazy. If my mom is going to be watching this, yeah, we did that. And I'm sorry.
Now, would
But-
you guys ever? I was gonna say, go ahead. Yeah, keep going.
No, go ahead. Good. You can ask.
I was just gonna say, so now, would you guys ever do that again? Like, just try to steal, like, I guess, like a little candy or something?
No, like
think-
I can pay for it now.
Yeah.
You did it when you were a kid because you're just like had no money.
Nah, I work at.
Seems like, nah, man, I do this every day. Yeah, like, candy's my
I work at CVS
bitch.
Pharmacy, and I see all these people. I'm sitting there literally, like, ringing people up, and I'm seeing down the aisle people stealing stuff. Like, I'm seeing
yeah,
down,
yeah.
like
Really?
stuff like this. Yeah, and the majority of the time when people get caught, they're just like, these people are like 36, 40. One we had to kick out of the store a couple times. She's literally 78 years old, and she's stealing a bunch of stuff.
Like,
She has. Now she has the money for it, but she just said she doesn't want to spend it on stupid stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they believe.
Are you sure she has the money? Because she is old. She's living on Social Security.
But I guess she doesn't have the money for it then if she's buying like $100.
yeah, I was gonna say her prescription. She's broke now.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I mean, majority of the people, like this one guy, he tries on like one of the freaking, I don't know, the elbow pad things, right? And I'm looking at him. He looks right at me. He's got his glasses on and everything. And they take the box, and then he goes to the other aisle like he's looking at something else, leaves the box there, just walks right out of the store with the armband on right there.
Oh,
This
geez.
guy's like 40 years old and everything like that. Just
And I worked in retail, similar, like it's not similar as pharmacy, but I would imagine you have the same policy where you're not allowed to confront them. Like you're supposed to call
no,
security,
you can
right?
confront 'em.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can.
You can't follow them out the store though. Once they're out
Oh,
the
wow.
store, you have to
Oh.
follow the police. Yeah.
Oh, I
Doesn't
see.
seem very far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We had a kid still like a bunch of Mucinex, and you have to be 18 to purchase it, and now kids are like crushing it up and snorting it. Mucinex.
Why?
That
It gets
sounds
them
so
really
bad.
high or something, I guess. I don't
Really?
know.
What? How many do you need?
That's insane.
Honestly, I don't know. But it's got like,
Yeah. Yeah. So like three pills, you think?
And
Three?
you said you snort them, right?
You sn-
Yeah.
You really gotta.
How fine do you have to
Stick
crush
in your
them?
butt, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But
the
if you
problem.
did,
The guy I knew said that's the problem. Yeah.
your butt will stop
Oh, man.
coughing.
But that's when I think of Mucinex. Isn't that the one that you need when you want like shit to come out of your nose?
Yeah. It's
Expectorant.
expectorant. Yeah.
Yeah.
It breaks it up in the chest. Then you can.
That seems really weird to like snort that. And you're just like, oh my god, all this snot's coming.
It's better than
Yeah.
But,
it's better than
yeah,
like what
anyways,
getting
he
pissed on by
sticks-
cats.
Yeah, he sticks that down his pants, right? First of all, he comes up and asks us. He's like, "Where's the Mucinex at?" And we're like,
Where's
"Dude,
the
this."
Mucinex at?
Yeah.
He's like, and I'm like, "You're 14."
dog.
I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, "You're 14," but it's over here. You know what I mean? I'm sitting here thinking, and then Leslie's like, the lead tech was like, "Did he just ask where the Mucinex is?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "He's way underage. He can't be doing that." And he's like, "I think he's stealing that." And she calls on the intercom, "Pete, security, blah blah blah," like this, and he's like, "I'm on it," just over the intercom, and then he comes back later and tells us what he did. He said, "Hey, you, come on. Come on." He's like, "Yep, give me this." He's like, "If I ever seen you here again, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass." And he just like walks out.
Best security guard ever.
Yeah,
No,
seriously.
it was the manager. We don't have a security guard. It was
oh,
the manager. But
okay.
he was pretty cool.
That'd be great if your manager had like different jackets for whatever he had to do.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, yeah, I'm on it. Puts on a security
Yeah.
jacket, grabs his badge.
Come on.
He's like, thanks Leslie for calling that in. He takes it off, puts his manager stuff back in. Can you come? I have to see you in my office.
But that was like the most official thing ever. Like, it was so funny. Usually, generally, like when they think someone's stealing, they go security checks section A. I'm like, there's no section A in the store. Like, what the hell are they saying? And I'm like, where's section A? And
Yeah,
they're like,
red
we
team
just say that.
go.
Yeah.
Just like say that. We
Code
just say that.
blue.
But the best part about that was just that like Pete security whatever section, and he goes, and then he replies because nobody ever replies, and they go, "I'm on it." He goes like that over the intercom. You know what I mean? So, like,
That's
imagine
funny.
the kid's like, "Shit, I gotta make it to the door." You know what I mean? Like, but he was
So
just, like,
did he-
walking normally?
So he had stuff on him, and
Oh, he had like 3 boxes of Mucinex. Yeah,
and they were all in his pants.
yeah, they were all in his pants. That was
So
dope.
he had to just do that in front of everybody, just like reach down in the Mucinex bottles and take them out of his pants.
I mean, nah, they didn't do that. He just grabbed him out, or he grabbed him out and gave him to him like that.
Jesus. And be like, don't hand them to me. Put them on the counter.
Yeah,
I'll wash
exactly.
them all.
Don't touch those. Well,
right.
hey, I was gonna let you guys know. So that was the first time I think that I really broke the law. But the one that kept sticking out in my head was when I was in high school. We actually broke into an abandoned house because it was supposedly haunted, and we went around in there. And in the same night, my buddy was going about. We were driving away about 70 miles an hour, passing me in like a little 2-lane road near my house, and a cop was coming the other way. So when the cop saw what was happening, he actually busted around, turned around, and like sped down the road, and actually came up on me, and there was a median, so he couldn't get around me. So like I kind of slowed down to slow him down. That was something pretty stupid I did, but I didn't get in trouble. They didn't know I knew him up there, so he got away.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they don't
Holy
always
crap.
catch the people, then, huh?
They don't.
Yeah.
I've freaked out before where like cops have come and I'm like, I make a quick right and a quick left, and then I
Yeah.
like park and put my lights off, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh man, this was really bad in college. I remember I was driving back down from all the bars, and I was like drunk already, and
Mhm.
I also had a beer open in my car.
We've
I
done
had
that
been
at- yeah.
drinking,
Oh,
and I was driving back to my house, and sure enough, fucking lights show up behind my car, and I'm like, oh my god, like my life is over. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
this is the worst possible thing to ever happen to me. So I'm just like thinking what I'm gonna say, how badly this is gonna go, and I pull over, and the cop behind me like is not getting out of her car, and then I can kind of hear something like outside. So I roll down my window, and she's like, get out of the way, and I'm like, oh. And I realized there's another car in front of me that is like came over to the side too, and she's like, move out of the way. So I just like get out and like drive, and then she like pulls up behind the other car and arrests like or like does something to that guy. And I remember the second I turned like the first right, I just chucked the beer out of my car, and I was like, I felt so sober. I was like, oh.
Just white knuckle
Yeah,
the whole way home.
Terrified. I mean, because I was only maybe 5 minutes away from my house too. I mean, it was so stupid to do in the first place, but I just remember thinking.
I wonder in that scenario, if you're driving fast enough, what you could be like. Could you potentially chuck the beer and just take the loitering? No, not loitering. Take the what?
Speeding?
No. Take you'll get ticket if you chuck stuff out your littering. God damn it, brain fart. So if you take the littering ticket. Because if you're going so fast, like there's no way she would stop and look to see what that was. So if there's no evidence, I wonder if they would just be like, all right.
I think they'd still get me because my blood alcohol content. I'd still be under the influence.
Yeah, I know.
Right, but if you had
the same thing with drugs though, like you can throw the weed out of the car and they see that it's still trying. They can get you on two things. They can get you on
destruction of evidence
and destruction of evidence. Yeah, you can do that too.
If they find the bag of weed, right?
Yeah, which 100% of the time, if you watch Cops,
it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Steve knows.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right.
know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a similar Savannah story too, like that.
Savannah Cops, but that's the thing is like Savannah Cops have so much other shit going on that we were just like, yeah, you can drink in the car. I mean, because they also are pretty loose on that. It's surprising.
Right. I mean, the drinking laws there in general are super lax. So
yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are ever trying to have want to go somewhere and have fun with drinking, go to Savannah, Georgia. You can have beer or liquor as long as it's in a solo cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
open, walk around.
And the
is there?
Too,
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
Is if
Just
you're driving
giant.
there, if you're driving in Savannah though, like you're not going really over 15 miles an hour. So like
that's the other thing.
Downtown, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
you're going around squares, so like you're really going 10 miles per hour. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like stopping every 5 seconds, so it's like.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna. on that note, we'll go on to our next topic. Allan, I'm gonna go down the line.
All right, so this week, Yukiko and I watched this movie Ex Machina, which is about artificial intelligence. That's all I'll tell you about the premise of the movie. And it got me thinking about what aspect of the future, because people say that AI for sure will be around in our lifetime. What aspect of the future do you fear the most? Because I think artificial intelligence is a good one to be afraid of. So I'll just go around. Clay, in my dynamic view of Skype, your picture is biggest right now, so I'm going to start with you.
Okay. Well, I think AI is pretty scary to a lot of people because they fear that it will become sentient and think that the most efficient way to do their job is to kill humans. But I have a hard time wrapping my head and believing that is actually will be the case. I just think we're smarter than that, and I think there's a lot more that goes into having an AI actually be capable of killing someone. And because we're the humans programming it, we have like, I don't know who it is, but it's like the robot laws. 1, a robot shall not hurt a human. 2, a robot must do everything a human says. 3, a robot can follow rule 2 as long as it doesn't break rule 1. And I think that pretty much covers everything.
Isaac Asimov's law.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like Isaacs are just smart people. So they make or they just like, or they're like really bossy and they make a lot of rules. I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out. But yeah. So
one or the other.
Yeah. AI doesn't necessarily scare me. I think recently the most recent kind of fear I had was the idea of nuclear weapons getting in the hands of the wrong person. Up until now, nukes have been really hard to create. You need a lot of You need a lot of resources to do so, but as things get smaller and smaller and we're capable of doing greater and greater destruction, I'm more and more fearful that it's going to be easier and easier to create a nuke. And it's not even like North Korea, really, because I actually don't think a country might do that. Like, I don't think whatever his name is, Kim Jong-il is like stupid enough to do something like that, to just destroy the economy and then have to like, maybe he's crazy, but like I'm actually more worried about like crazy terrorists. You look at like what
small cell getting the materials.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You look at the Boston bombing, and it's probably what the most money they were able to spend on bombing. I question if they had the resources, if it was capable of getting a nuclear weapon like in their hands or something even half the size of that, what that would look like. And if it's getting easier and easier, if like things like ISIS are
I wonder if it's actually is that easy to grab the components for nuclear weapons though.
Not
I'm sure
now,
it's
I don't
possible
think.
for big weapons, but I feel like
Right.
because it's
Not-
limited by actual resources, right?
Right.
By,
It is
like,
now.
It's a naturally occurring element on Earth, right?
Right. And
So
I think
there
this
is
is
a limited amount of it.
I think so. I don't know. I have to do more research,
I
but
always thought nuclear was just splitting atoms. I mean, not
Well, it
just.
depends on what kind of atom, and then you also need something that's like powerful enough to split it for you.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
right. And so
Bears.
Bears. So after watching like Metal Gear 5, because like Metal Gear, the game is really about like having these nuclear weapons and like the selling and like all that stuff. And so just kind of scared, like, because these guys are crazy, and if they ever did have their hands on something as destructible as an atom bomb or a nuclear bomb, like, I don't think they would hesitate to use it, honestly. And if they were to like attack, like, God, could you imagine like, I don't even. You think about what 9/11 did, and it was like, meh. It was like, emotionally it hurt, but it didn't really hit us too hard financially, and like, but taking out like multiple cities via nuke, like, holy crap,
Yeah.
that would be devastating.
A nuke that detonated, I think, either in a major city or above a major city, I think would be. I mean, that would spell all-out war, I think. No matter
Right.
what.
Yeah, that would just change the game. And so I think that's my biggest fear. I feel like we've gotten over this like whole world warless country issue of like seeing a nuke attack, like country use it against, because that's just dumb. No one, morally speaking, I don't think anybody's capable of doing that. But like these guys have different morals and they're kind of extremists. So I would be fearful of them doing something like that.
I just don't understand why people would do that in the first place. Like send a nuke over. And another thing too is like like they send a nuke over to us. And as they're sending it over, it takes a while to get here. Then we're like sitting here like, okay, well, fuck that. We'll send a nuke back. So no,
Right.
we're doing exactly what they're doing. They're gonna kill like millions of people, and we're gonna kill
No, I
millions
don't.
of people.
I don't
That's-
think we'd even do that. I mean, think about it, because like a lot of these extremists are in countries that like that. I mean, is that right? Like, I don't know. You're gonna just bomb Syria because
Yeah,
there's
if
a
it was somebody
dumbass
like
in Syria,
Russia, then yeah, we'd have a target to shoot back at. But if it's like
Well,
some
some
small-
extremist.
extremist group,
Yeah.
then don't know where to like really send the nuke to retaliate.
Yeah.
We were the only ones that dropped an actual nuke on.
Yeah.
And Steve,
Yeah.
you're presuming that this is going to be a nuke launch from a place. I am thinking that the nuke is built in the U.S. and it's
Oh,
just,
okay.
you know what I mean, like
Gotcha.
just like 9/11 where they used our own stuff against us. It would make much more sense for them, like financially, to just infiltrate our stuff and
Yeah.
find a way to.
If they
You know what
wanted
I
to
mean?
go to war with somebody, yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot more. There's like a large. I don't know. That's just the one thing I'm like, oh God, if that were to ever happen, that would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I guess my fear would be of the future. Of course, Clay, that's a pretty damn big fear. You make me think about that now. But I would think just how drones and cameras are popping up everywhere, that there's pretty much going to be no privacy at all. Like, I feel like whenever you walk down the street, you're being video camera. Like, there's video camera watching you. So every little thing you do wrong, and then eventually, just technology catching up to us, where you just get in trouble for every little thing, like stealing a piece of candy. They're like, "Oh, you get a ticket in the mail, $100." Where it's just constantly hitting you on whatever. If you go 1 mile over the speed limit, boom, you get a ticket in the mail. Like, and you just have no privacy at all. So that's kind of my fear, I guess, of the future. as well as nukes by extremists.
Yeah.
So,
What
Hmm?
what about it? What about your privacy is so sacred?
I mean, there's nothing like I do crazy. It's
What's
just
in your browser history?
Yeah. What porn are you looking at that you don't want Big Brother to see?
Yeah.
You want me to start with A, like alphabetical? Or...
There's a long list, buddy.
No,
I don't know,
just-
like, cause there's some I don't know what it is. I guess I find some comfort in that. Like I'm willing to test the boundaries of our privacy if it means I get Amazon Prime drone shit to me the same day I order it. Pretty fucking cool.
Well, think about
Pretty
this.
cool.
Wherever you go, you're constantly videotaped. Like that, I don't like that. I just don't like that thought that, and someone sitting there watching me and just having Big Brother over your shoulder. I'm not a big fan of that.
So that's yeah. So like okay. So that specific thing never bothered me, and I don't know why. And that's why I think I'm just like so
You've already
enamored
lost,
with.
Clay. The machines have beaten you.
But like,
Yep.
you want
Another
to
one.
Okay.
you want to watch me pick my nose and fart and like cool sucks for you. like I'm not doing like I just what could you possibly watch? I guess I'm just really secure in everything that I do. I'm not ashamed or afraid. Like I
Neither am
farted.
I. I mean,
There you go.
yeah,
like I've been eating ravioli all
I
night
farted.
watching Netflix.
I mean,
Yeah, like
megabytes
yeah,
until
like-
3 a.m.
yeah. My
Well,
browser
okay,
history is
That sounds good.
Facebook, YouTube Fantasy,
Yeah.
Facebook, Google. How do you blah blah blah? Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah,
could
they're
care
for
less
sure
about
looking
that.
for the people that are like building nuclear bombs at home. You know,
Mhm. Right.
that's a big part of it. But I feel like on their phones and Google and everything, they always have all your data. Like
Yeah.
so, your search patterns, what you search for. They even Yukiko just showed me this recently. Anything you've said to your phone. So if you
Yeah.
like say, "Hey Google, look for this," or Siri or whatever, they have
Yeah.
recordings of your voice saying all that stuff actually
crazy.
on Google's website.
Yeah.
So anytime
Oh,
you've
really?
ever said that, yeah, they have it, and you can find it. You can listen to everything you've ever said to it.
Wow.
What?
And
crazy.
I think that's weird, just because they use that information to shape like advertising
Yes.
and everything, like targeted advertising, which is like really annoying more than anything to me. Like, yeah, it's easy to just look at it and be like, ah, like so annoying, like clothes or whatever. But it's just
Right.
like the fact that they're trying to like know you when it's like it's almost like an AI thing, like a computer is like trying to figure you out based on your like search history, but like that's not necessarily 100% snapshot of what a person is like.
It's really it's an uncanny feeling because on paper it sounds like a great idea, but in execution it fails to an offensive way. Because I get like I see it and I get offended that it's like, hey, I saw you were looking at skirts. You like skirts? Here's a bunch of new skirts. I was like, motherfucker, I was getting a present for my wife. Get out of here. I don't want to see this shit. You know what I mean? Like,
This one website specifically I bought something from is like in every ad I ever go to, and I got like a gift for Yukiko one time, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, like I don't need this now. Like,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I get offended on that stuff.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
I'm just worried about how that in general like can like the media, not media, like like it could be used for like propaganda though, almost,
Yeah.
now that they have like a snapshot of what people are like looking for, they can put in more subliminal stuff into the ads that end up showing to you that somehow might work. I mean, there's lots of steps I think that would require them for that to be successful, but I just feel like the idea behind it is feasible if they have this sort of like constant updates from your phone or your Google or whatever.
Yeah. What about the positives behind it though?
The good thing is it's probably convenient when you want to like look for stuff.
Right.
Obviously, it kind of is going to know what you've looked for in the past, your search history, purchase history, things like that. I mean, I could see the convenience of it.
Well, and speaking of that, actually, when I was looking for my truck, I was online looking a lot, and I kept seeing advertisements for like vehicles, like used vehicles and stuff.
Right.
And I actually started clicking on, like, oh, that looks cool, And
Right.
so that was convenient. But then again, I sat there and I looked on my computer at my house, and then I'm driving, with my wife. She's driving, and I pull up my phone and I go to Google, and it's advertised on my phone. I'm like, I didn't even fucking look at it on my phone. What the
Wow.
hell? So I thought that
Yeah.
was kind of weird. That happened a few years ago, and
Yeah.
It's intrusive.
That's
Yeah.
one thing that is like I thought was really freaky the very first time it happened to me was on my phone. I have like an iPhone, and when I like swipe down to just they have the weather app built into it when you're just checking the weather. Like about a year ago, it said, hey, it'll take you. There's like light traffic. It'll take you 10 minutes to get to this address, because it's where I work.
Yeah.
But I never have my GPS turned on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on because it's in Canada and I have a Verizon like wireless, so still somehow it's mapping my location that every morning at like 9 a.m. I walk to this place because it only shows me that update like around that time in the morning, which I
Yeah,
thought
same
was
here.
really really freaky.
It was freaky.
'Cause,
But
yeah.
but after I got over that freak, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, well, 10 minutes, that's pretty good. I should leave.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is cool, but it totally freaked me out.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have my GPS turned on, which is the weird thing. So they're still tracking it despite you saying, "Hey, I don't want to be tracked right now."
Yeah.
well, speaking of which, just like Facebook, that took it off my phone because I sat there and pulled it up one day, and there's a map of everywhere I'd been, like in down here in Florida. I was like, what the hell? So, and then like I had friends checking me in here. I'm like, why does everyone need to know where I'm at every second of the day?
Right.
But why does that? So I'm just very curious of like maybe it's the human condition, like why that bothers you, because it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I know some people are just very particular, like
Okay,
like
say
they
somebody
don't.
did not like you though, Clay.
Right.
Say somebody really hated you,
Okay.
Yeah.
and they did
Oh.
want to find you.
Oh,
They
okay, I
could
see.
find you like that,
Yeah. So they would
Yeah.
beat me up, take my lunch money,
Right.
or
What
kill
if I-
you,
or kill me. Right.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I see.
What-
I see.
Or they
What if
see
you
like
were
a pattern. They're like, okay, I know that at this time of the day he drives on this road by himself because like it's like not
Ooh,
very
okay.
traveled, and then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm waiting for him there,
Oh, man.
boom, they get you on this like dirt road where nobody's at.
Or they wait for you to leave your house because
Or
they
they wait-
know they
yeah,
have this
exactly.
information. They steal your
You know,
stuff.
you leave at
Shit.
5:30 a.m. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Oh, that is
Yeah,
freaky.
It is a little. I think that's just like the little freaky part about it.
Yeah, and then think about this. You probably had plans with some friends, and you're running behind. You're like, "Oh, hey, I'm on my way." They get on Facebook. They're like, "He hasn't even fucking left his house yet." You know?
Well, yeah, but that's you
Well, that's
lying.
your fault, yeah.
Yeah, that's you lying.
What?
And see, that's where I go when people are like, I don't like when they tell me. I'm like, well, what are you hiding? Like, what are you hiding? Like, what is this that you want, like, to cover up?
I think it's the availability of that information. Like, yeah, your friends that see it, like, who gives a shit? But if like somebody that you don't want to see that information,
Yeah.
found it, it's like easily out there for them to get.
Yeah, and that's why I said that the like pharmacists that I've worked with don't have like Facebooks at all, because their names are posted, their first and last name are posted right there. Like, meet your pharmacist, and it says so and so. It's like they can go look them up on Facebook, find out their address where they want to live, and then just go there. You know what I mean? Like, if they
Yeah.
didn't like them, like say, oh, you didn't give me my oxycodone, well, I'm gonna fucking find you or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
sketchy people. Yep.
I don't know. That's where
Yeah.
the privacy thing comes in. If someone really wants to find you, they'll find you.
The other problem is that I don't trust people. I guess is where it all lies. It's like I don't know what they're gonna do with that information to possibly harm me or take something from me.
I think that it's a little weird. I think the scary parts are that we don't really have full control over it. We don't understand what we can and cannot control, or really the systems entirely. So that's always frightening. And then the fact that like Google and all these companies really are profiting off of our stuff. It would be nice to somehow visualize what we're getting out of it, because it feels like we're just being taken advantage a little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
Good. Alan.
Oh, well, I was gonna say one of the good things, just back because you were like looking for cars or trucks, Ian, was that by having this information on what people are interested in, companies can shape what sort of products they make based on that sort of information, which could be helpful. Like,
Right.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
also kind of weird if you're like, oh, I really wish this had this thing, and then all of a sudden, like next year, this
Oh.
has the feature that you wanted. You're like, huh, interesting. But I think that is nice that they can really cater to what the general population is interested in at that time.
Yeah. But that comes with a con too, because as
Yes.
in a profession that gets a ton of feedback from various different people, like we have to learn how to filter that feedback. So
Yeah.
I would always be concerned that like, well, this is what people are clamoring for, but what I've learned is that what people want doesn't, like, what they ask for is not need or want,
Yeah,
really. Right? It could be something else that they want, or like it's a good thing that they want this and that they don't have it, because if they did, everything would fall apart. So that would be
Assuming they have some smart analyst for marketing, they can do that for them.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. That's really like interesting to think about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't fear that people will become like, I don't like the people are like, oh, you know, all these phones, all this technology, people are becoming unsocial. It's like, no, it's false. If anything, they're becoming more social, or a parallel. Like, I love this image of a modern day everybody on a bus, and their heads are deep in their phones, their smartphones. And then in contrast, it shows a picture of like 1940 Chicago and everybody on the bus, and their faces are face deep in newspapers. Like, there's just people want information and want to be entertained. They don't necessarily need to talk all the time. And so, like, look, this is what we do as humans. We need to like kind of regenerate our batteries and like just kind of be unsocial.
Slightly disagree.
Okay.
I slightly agree with you. Like, I've seen the same comparison image before, and like people just want to read the information. But I do think, and this is coming from somebody who likes their own personal time and like doesn't want to have to like talk to somebody every time you get in like a public place. But I feel like by reading about it or absorbing it through information, it detaches you from the human aspect between people. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you see something bad happen to somebody on your phone or you read about it, it doesn't have the same visual impact as if you like know about something bad happening, like you actually see, like,
That's true.
yourself, you witness it yourself, right?
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
I feel like people will be detached emotionally from like terrible things that are happening, you know, like now we see like ISIS like beheading people and like doing all these atrocities, and it's happening so much, you read about it all the time, you're not actually like seeing any of this stuff, that it almost becomes like not like it doesn't matter to you when you see it, you know.
Yeah, what is the word? You become not jaded.
Desensitized.
Yeah, desensitized, right. Yeah, exactly. For sure. That's true. Yeah,
So
I can see that.
That's like one of the bigger problems with like always being on the phone. I mean, I feel like I'm not one of the biggest offenders of being on my phone. Like I do it rarely because I only do it when I have Wi-Fi itself. Like I don't ever roam and use like data for that. So and I also I feel like you miss out on stuff that's around you at the same time. Like it's really cool to like find out what's going on all over different parts of the world. Like you have that access right there on your phone. But I feel like a big part of life is kind of observing what's happening around you, even if you don't necessarily interact with it. I think observing it really enriches your life, because you notice things that you might not have noticed, even if you can read about, you know, what fucking basketball players fucking what model on your phone.
Yeah,
It might not be as
24/7,
interesting
yeah.
as seeing something that's happening like right in front of your feet.
Right.
No, I mean, I agree. I was gonna say
That's
I
a good
agree
point.
too, because like I took the girls to Disney, like the Animal Kingdom, and it was really great. They had their phones, you know, like you see people like, you know, the phones taking pictures of stuff and everything like that. Well, they were sitting there doing that, taking pictures, and they're trying to upload stuff and everything. They missed this freaking cool thing that only happens like at that part of the day, because you're just walking in the park, like all these like macaws, like parrots, all different kind of beautiful. They all come in like it's almost looks like an air show, like you know, like when all the planes are like all similar. They all come in, swoop over your head. They do like this almost like weird turn. They come back down and they almost swoop over your head. And the girls, I'm like, girls, look! You see the birds and everything? They're like, hold on, posting. I'm like, well, you fucking missed it.
Yeah.
It's over with.
It's over.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, well, like whatever.
So what if
they miss so much stuff because they're in their phones all the time?
What if what you saw is automatically recorded and you can upload into your daughter's brains, and you can be, look, you missed this, and then they'd be like, hold on. Oh yeah, that was pretty cool.
What if
Oh.
for that generation though, I was wondering if you don't even see it in like live, like in the flesh in the moment, what if it's still just as rewarding when you see it when somebody else that recorded it on their phone, you see it like pop up on your Facebook feed and you get to watch it from there. Like maybe to them that's the same thing as seeing it in real life. Just because they've grown up with this
Right.
technology already,
Yeah.
they're used to
Yeah.
being in,
I don't
connected
know
with their
because
phones.
I've seen the Northern Lights so many times, like on a picture. I think that if I saw it in real life, I think it'd be completely different. Just like
Well-
Rocco, like right now, like when me and Rocco went on the Appalachian Trail, right, and we took a picture like over this canyon, right, and it was so high up, and it was just the smell, the moment, and everything like that. And I'm looking at the picture, and then I'm showing the picture to Amber, and she's like, "Oh, that's cool. That's really cool." I'm like, "No, it's not cool. It's beautiful. Like you should have been there." It was just
Right.
like this picture doesn't describe it at all. I was like 10. I was like, it was like you were high up, and it was just like you could see. I was like, this picture doesn't describe it at all. So I was
That's
just
cool.
saying, like, I don't think that the feeling and the moment and everything is held in a picture. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Yeah,
Or a
that's
video.
fair.
I agree. I mean, I struggle sometimes like lugging around like a camera on like a hike or something because I know it'll take really great pictures, but it doesn't really capture what is great about doing that hike. Like
Yeah.
when people see the picture, they're like, "Oh, that looks cool." Like it might like be a great picture, it might look really cool, the Vista Vista, but people are just looking at it like
Yeah.
at a flat image basically. So they're
Right.
not really
Right.
seeing anything. They're not getting like what the temperature was like, what sounds you could hear,
The
anything like
breeze.
that. Yeah, the breeze,
Right.
like that is like a huge part of living in the moment or experiencing a moment rather than just looking at a picture being like, oh, that like yeah, that is a beautiful picture. It totally resonates with me. Like it looks like the lighting is awesome on it or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
not the same as actually feeling like what you feel like when you're doing it.
Yeah, and I'm not one to really like be in my phone. I am king of leaving it places and it dying. So I enjoy just living in the moment there. I don't take many pictures at all. And my wife and I, we went to Hawaii and we went up to the top of the volcano, and that was like one of the coolest things. We took 2 pictures while we were up there, and that was it. We just enjoyed the moment. So. I can see, and what's funny is showing like the few pictures that we had to people. They're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I'm like, "No, like literally, it was insane being up there, And then right after that, we're in like a jungle, pretty much like a rainforest at a waterfall, So I am king of forgetting my phone everywhere, which I kind of enjoy. So,
Ian, we're gonna have to get you a crown.
yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one more thing. One thing that my mom always told me, and I thought this was kind of poignant for what we're saying right now, is she hates, like me and my dad do this all the time, and we also used to do it. We always take like landscape pictures when we go like somewhere. We go like on vacation, so not like landscape format, but literally like no people in the picture. We try to get like a cool picture, and that's like what I was saying, like, oh, it looks really cool, but because there's no person in the picture, when you look back at it, you're not going to really think about like the memory you had with these people.
Right.
Like having
Yeah.
a person in the picture, I think is like one of the most important things for using a picture for what you probably are going to use it for, which is to remember what you did at some point.
with
Yeah.
with those
With-
people,
with
right?
those
Yeah.
people, right? Yeah.
Who you
You're not
experienced
gonna
with.
like look like if you had like 10 pictures of a vacation that you did like 30 years ago, when you're 60, or the ones that are going to be most interesting are going to be the only ones that you can see like who you were with. You're going to like pick up if 1 out of 10 is one with a person in it, that's the only one you're probably
Yeah.
gonna like care about when you see.
Right.
Because you'll be able to like look at that and then think about what it looked like when you were there without having landscape pictures.
That's a really good point. I never even thought about that. That's so true. Because people don't hang those pictures, those landscape pictures, just sitting up in their living room. No, it's a picture of you and someone else.
Right.
In that picture.
So what we're really talking about too here is just the fear of losing this human connection and
Yeah.
this like life
I think so.
because of technology just taking over. It's interesting.
Yep.
I'm gonna go to our next topic. It's
Yep.
gonna be my
Good.
topic.
Okay.
Cool.
Star Wars.
Bum bum bum.
I hate it.
Now,
I'm out.
for those of you listening, and we had a topic way back in the day. I didn't have Allan with me. I didn't have the Tower, my tag team partner here, to defend me when I was talking about what was better between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and that's fine. It's a great topic. You guys can go check it out on youtube.com/MaelstromGamers channel. But what I'm talking about today is that because Star Wars is coming out, I wanted to kind of just like take a moment to reflect back on our experiences with Star Wars, why it was special to us, why it's still special, and perhaps like your different experiences with the various different trilogies and what you expect it moving forward. So I mean, and I can start, and I have an interesting, I think, minority perspective, or I'm in the minority with this perspective, and then I hated the original Star Wars. Not hate, I hate so strong. I didn't like and did not get the hype of the original Star Wars, and when the prequels came out, I actually really liked them better for a while, and there's two reasons. One, I thought Darth Maul was the coolest thing ever, and two, watching the original Star Wars was really tough for me because like the everything was just like stuck in the late 70s, 80s, and the graphics were okay. Like it wasn't like, and the lightsaber battles were like whatever, like blah blah. Like as a kid, I was more gravitated towards these cool like fast-paced lightsaber battles, and like at the time the crazy cool CGI and everything looked modernized, and I liked it a lot better. But as I grew up, I realized that I was an idiot.
How old were you when you saw each of the things? So the prequels when they came out, because
Yeah.
that old.
And,
but then
and I'd
how
seen
old
the Star Wars
were you?
before that.
Okay.
So I was just like, why is this so good? Like, I mean, it was interesting to me. I liked it from a high level, but like, I didn't really like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, get all excited, and I didn't always watch them again. I was like, why is like. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like, the concepts were awesome. I really enjoyed the concepts of a Jedi, but I always imagined, like, Jedi being more badass than what it was portrayed in the movies. You know, everything was so slow and, like, you know, like, even the first movie, like, nobody used a lightsaber till, like, I don't even know. Like, did they? Like, I can't remember. Like, it was all blasters and
There's
stuff.
one
I was like,
fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan where he kills Obi-Wan.
right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, ching, ching, and he's dead. I was like, well, that was lame. I want to see a cool lightsaber battle. You know what I mean? And then especially as I'm getting older, like, or around that time, rather, Star Wars has evolved to a point in video games where you could throw the lightsaber, you force choking, all this stuff. And so I'm watching these things, and I'm like, it's just boring. Like, there's nothing cool going on. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I just wasn't really that, like, impressed at the time. But looking back, I have a large appreciation for how it's held up and what it did at the time and what it still continues to do, and like its story and its pacing and its character development and the arcs. Like, that is awesome. And then I look at the characters that they introduced in the prequels, like Jar Jar Binks and even Anakin, and, you know, fucking it's just terrible. It falls apart. So I was just curious what your guys' perspective was, and we could talk about the future Star Wars in a minute. But
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the old Star Wars and everything, and the new ones were pretty good too. Of course, Jar Jar Binks was the most annoying character ever fucking created.
racist, yeah.
Yeah, but see, and I guess I'm with the majority where I like the older ones better. When I was growing up, my dad said, "Hey, you gotta watch these," and from the first video, I was like, "This is awesome." Now, yes, I know from the previous conversations, it's a hard battle for me between Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, but I know we're just on the Star Wars topic here, and
Yeah, so no Lord of the Rings talk, Ian.
I'm excited for the new movie. I think it's going to be pretty cool from what the trailer that I saw so far. And who do you think the new, I guess, what's his name? Not Darth
Kylo
Vader.
Ren.
Okay, yeah. So of course, at first, I only saw the ending of the trailer or a certain part of it. I was like, oh, that's Luke. That's Luke all day. When I watched the whole thing, I was like, okay, that's not Luke. So
before we go any further into the new Star Wars, did you? I missed it. Did you like the prequels? Did you hate the prequels? What did you think about them?
they were okay. I felt like they dragged on. I liked the original three better, a lot better actually.
Okay.
I would say I'm indifferent, honestly. They're entertaining. That's about it.
The new ones, the prequels.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, this one saves it. Honestly, I think this one looks good.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious. Like the whole movie, I thought was hilarious. Like, you know, the alien popping out of the guy's stomach and dancing on the counter to where he was like, "I see your Schwartz is as big as mine." Like, I thought it was the funniest.
Yeah, you're not funny, Steve. You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. I like when they're combing the beaches and the black guys are like, we ain't found shit. I like when yeah. I like what he's playing with his dolls.
Only one man would dare use raspberry.
We got jam, sir.
No, honestly, I liked the prequels, I guess, more than the original. I don't know why. I mean, I honestly haven't
Allan.
I haven't seen the originals in a long time. It's
Well, that's probably why you thought Lord of the Rings was better. Because you're comparing the prequels with Lord of the Rings. It's like
I like the prequel. I'm more of like a fan of the graphics and stuff like that. Like, the CGI. So I'm like, I don't know
Watch it
why,
now.
but my brain just gravitates to that a little bit more. I guess I don't know why. But so wait, what did you think about what they did with the end of the last one? Like the very I forgot the very first series. I forgot what the Empire's.
Strikes Back.
Yeah, you remember how like they put
Return of the Jedi.
instead
Oh, yeah.
of putting the original old guy like as the
Oh, they put
When
Anakin?
Anakin in,
they
that
put the
was
unit
fucking-
Anakin.
that
Were
was
you
so
guys pretty mad about that? Or?
A lot of
that was
people are.
really
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. And
I
the whole
liked it.
Han shot first thing, and like they constantly try to retcon what happened in those movies, and people just like get so irritated. It's
Well,
really funny
to be
because
honest, the originals, the ones you watch now that have all the added CG shit in it, it's so fucking distracting. because
Yeah.
it's so out of place. Like all of a sudden in this one shot, there's just like a obviously CG dinosaur thing that takes up the entire screen, and you're just like, that's the only thing I'm looking at. Like I have been taken out of the story. I don't give a shit about what's actually happening with the main characters anymore. I'm just seeing
Right.
this eyesore that's taking up like a third of the screen.
Right.
Yeah, and what's interesting about Star Wars is I think like the biggest problem, or like its greatest enemy, I'll put it this way, its greatest enemy was the fact that it's trying to grab a specific type of audience and a quantity of audiences. Because I felt like under George Lucas and like they were always worried about like appealing to like I don't know, family and like kids. And I think that's what really drove decisions like, oh, we made this amazing story, but now that we're like this family kid franchise, can't have Han Solo shoot first. He's the good guy. We got to change that. Okay, let's change that. And it's like, we got to create interesting characters that kids would love. Let's create Jar Jar Binks. Let's create blah, blah, blah. And like, I feel like a lot of those decisions just tanked what people originally loved Star Wars for.
Right.
And
Do you think
yeah.
they're gonna do that more that Disney owns them?
No, I would
J.J.
hope that they've learned their lesson
Yeah.
from the prequels.
Well, who knows?
Well,
Let's see.
J.J. Abrams is the director, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I like what he did with Star Trek, but that's some different subject.
Yeah.
I will say the originals, for me, the first one I saw was Return of the Jedi, so I saw the last one first.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even see it like necessarily from the beginning. It was like on TV, and my dad was watching it, and I saw, I think, the end of it when they're fighting on Endor. So with all the little Ewoks and the speeder
yeah.
bikes and the little AT-AT walkers and stuff. And to me, what was really awesome about the original Star Wars was had nothing to do with the Jedi. Like it was all about the like speeder bikes and the AT-AT walkers and like the spaceships and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing when I saw them for the first
Wow.
time.
Oh, that's,
So,
that's interesting.
So the Jedi like didn't matter to me, so that's why I liked the entire thing, because they're not even like yeah, Luke fights Vader and stuff, and it's, you know, cinematic and like the finale and everything. But I thought all the space battles and all the like ground battles, like on Hoth in in Empire Strikes Back, were way cooler than anything else that was going on with like the Jedi lightsaber battles.
Oh, that's
Like,
cool.
So I did think the new stuff where they fought like really fast and everything was pretty cool, but I thought they like focused on that too much.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Darth-
Thinking about it
Darth
now.
Vader- I mean, Darth Maul was for sure the coolest, and he should have been the
Yeah,
main
he was
bad
for
guy
sure.
throughout all of the prequels. But that's
Yeah.
a different topic.
Yeah, they screwed it up.
Yeah,
Well, we could
so,
talk about that here
Like the
too.
merchandising, because like you could buy, like me and my friend Jody and we like loved to get the Star Wars toys from the originals. Like we had like speeder bikes, like that one. Speeder bikes alone are probably like one of the like coolest things I think from the movies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Introduce those, and then after that the walkers, like the AT-AT walkers and the AT-ST walkers, like those were like super awesome. The ships, like B-wing, okay, it's fucking flying like this, and then when it gets attack mode, it's like whoosh, like ching, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
badass. Okay, X-wings, like the wings open up and everything, like that just was the coolest looking thing to me as a kid. Like anything that has like a setup movement where when it like goes into attack mode, you know, I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
That's
so I
awesome.
think that was a big reason that I liked the originals more, especially as a kid.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
I
what
was
did
super hyped for the prequels when they came out, and
Yeah.
I think I liked them when I saw them in the theater, but after like a year or two, I was like,
Allan,
these kind of suck.
can you name one thing that was neat about the vehicles that they introduced in the prequels? I think that is my point, right? Like I think about.
Hang on. I think there is something. Okay, the pod racers.
That's really all I had.
The
Yeah, it was pod
are
racers.
really cool. I think. The design of them, the sound design of them.
Yeah.
Was awesome. Like they were really really cool. Like that was almost speeder bike level cool in the new ones.
But nothing
Yes.
beats speeder bikes, though.
Nothing beats
Yeah,
speeder,
speeder
bikes.
bikes.
Though. They had a really cool sound too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I actually fell in love with Star Wars, and I think I can't remember which movie it is, but it's when he goes and sees Yoda for the first time in that swamp.
Empire Strikes Back.
That's okay, yeah.
I didn't-
like right at that point. I was like, "This is so awesome!" And
Really?
yeah,
That's like when
I
I
don't know
got so bored as a kid.
Yeah, me too. And a little like freaked out because I don't
It's
like
freaky,
Jim
yeah.
Henson's Muppets, man. It's always the swampy, poopy. I'm a Muppet, and it's like it would just.
Yeah.
Blech, it drew me out of it.
And then another great scene. I don't know. I just always like Yoda when he comes out in one of the newer ones, and it's the CGI of him, and he's like,
Oh,
Yeah, and he's
and he's
freaking
like,
fighting.
yeah,
That's
he's
my
like all
favorite.
crippled, and then boom, he's flipping out everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Yoda started
I
fighting,
like that.
everybody went nuts in the theater. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
even lie that you didn't
Because
freak
you
out. when
never
that
see
happened.
freaking
Yeah.
Yoda fight
yeah.
ever.
He's just jumping
was
all
awesome.
over the place, like doing backflips and shit.
And then he
One
gets his
thing-
cane right afterwards. And he's like,
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah. One thing I do like about the new prequels is that the expanding of the universe. It felt much bigger when they added them. So like they have all these new like worlds that they introduce and like different races and like
That's true.
references to different things. Like you see a lot more stuff. So I really like that, and I hope that that makes it into the new movies. I hope they have like that expanded, so they're not gonna go to fucking Tatooine every time. They're not gonna go.
Yeah.
To, Kashyyyk
there's-
every time.
There's no Death Star anymore, right?
Well, if you saw the poster, Steve, you might have seen something that resembles.
How though? Like, doesn't this go against your like judgment on movies as far as like bringing back something like Gandalf or something? Why would they bring back Death Star? It's already fucking
For the
gone.
third time.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
they
I
Wait.
do
they
agree.
had that
You failed.
unmade part of the movie. They made that unmade part of the ship that if you shot something into it, it would explode. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well, it came back
bring it
again.
back. Exactly. It came back
Yeah.
again after they.
Yeah.
And it's half, and now what is it going to be like a little tiny piece like this big that can destroy everything?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I do in the poster. They do have a big looking space station thing picture that looks Death Star-ish, but not quite Death Star.
Right.
They're like rebuilding.
It could simply be like the space station for the Empire or whatever as well. I don't.
Yeah.
The Death Twinkle.
Have
What I was
you
gonna.
guys seen the new trailer? I know Clay hasn't.
I have not,
I have.
and I'm not gonna see it until I see the movie.
Okay.
I've seen the trailers, but I just don't understand them. I guess.
Yeah.
like I understand
the-
the sword with like the almost looks like a cross. I don't understand that either.
Yeah, so the deal with that character apparently is that he is potentially collecting artifacts, but it's kind of like it's a couple layers there. Like I think that is supposed to resemble his disconnect with the Force, or how much the Force has been away for a while and like dormant. And so it's very like shaky, and like you see it's crackly, so it's like it's almost like okay, like the awakening theme, like things are just kind of like getting loose again. It's not as like clear cut and
Right.
right. And so the other thing too that our buddy Jay constantly brings up is that it also kind of resembles a weapon that is used a lot more slow. Like you look at you contrast the villains in the first prequel and this now first new sequel, and their weapons kind of resemble the tone of the entire like franchise direction. You on one hand you have this like very cool looking yet very gimmicky looking guy with this like dual like weapon that's used to like flip around, you know what I mean? Like it's Darth Maul's dual wielding lightsaber, and so that weapon is used very fast. You look at this new guy Kylo Ren, and it's this claymore slow weapon looking thing, and it seems like they're gonna go back down to the roots and kind of slow the pace down and really focus on characters, and like the lightsaber battles will be a little bit more like methodical as opposed to
I think more like Game of
choreographed.
Thrones combat versus
Right.
Now-
like
Where every like single hit just has a huge impact in
Right.
moment, right?
Now, for someone that doesn't really know that much about Star Wars, like I know like the Death Star just got exploded on the last one. Now, like, what is this movie going to be based on? Like, what's the action part of it? Like, are they rebuilding or something like that?
Allan will tell you.
as
what
far
I'm-
as far as I
Yeah, watch
know, based on the trailers, and I won't spoil anything. It seems like since the end of the end they blew up the Death Star. Luke realizes Vader was his father. He's the only
And there's
him
like
and
no
his
more
sister.
Jedis.
Him and
Jedis,
Leia are the only ones because they were
Yeah.
It is.
the son and daughter. They're the only ones that have any connection to the Force left. So they assumingly go into hiding or are outlaws because there's nobody else. There's no more Jedi or anything. So
Or Sith, right?
or Sith, as far as we
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
then, I think what's happened is there's 30-year jump to the new ones.
Okay.
The Force and the Jedi and the Sith and that whole concept is almost like legend now. Like nobody has seen these things in a long
Ah.
time. So nobody.
That's
So
cool.
that's why it's called
That's
the
cool.
Force Awakens, because this is, I think they're going to introduce the Force coming back on the light and the dark side.
That's
So
cool.
now, as
I
far
like
as I
that.
can tell, it's just going to be about almost like learning. It's almost like we're in Luke's shoes in Episode 4, the very first
Yeah.
one, where he has never heard of the Force, but he's heard stories about the Force, and these characters are going to be introduced to it and kind of go through the same thing where they're like, "Oh my
Kind of
god!"
like
all the
Obi-Wan
stuff
was in
going on.
hiding.
Exactly.
First-
Yeah.
Okay.
If you think about it, it's really 60 years of a forceless universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even Luke and Vader's confrontation with as much Force stuff as there was, it was still pretty hushed. Like Luke probably is just this soldier legend, quoted to have had this like lightsaber. Maybe he was a
Right.
Jedi, but like not a lot of people saw this like they did in the prequels, right? Where Jedi was a form and people knew exactly what they looked like and
Yeah.
their weapons, and it
It was
was a
a
lot more
council.
prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, yeah, it's like I wonder if Alan, like you were saying, the Force Awakens, if it not only means like there's going to be more Force, but if they're going to go back to the Council, because in the expanded universe around this time, which is now no longer canon, one thing that happened, Steve, for your information, when Disney bought Star Wars, they
Yeah.
killed pretty much all the expanded universe stuff, which included the story of what happens after the Empire Strikes Back and the Return of the Jedi movies, in which Luke becomes the new Jedi Council leader and starts his own Jedi Academy and starts like building Jedis back, right? He also has and Han and Leia, they have three
Children.
sons. Yeah, two sons. Okay, twins, a son and a daughter, and then a younger son who's named after Luke's or Leia's
Dang, they got
father,
busy.
Anakin. Yeah, so they got busy. Anyway, the twins, one of the boy, he witnesses his younger brother, Anakin, die. And that's what drives him to the dark side. And the daughter has to kind of like,
Was
they
this
fight.
like-
And that's
I was gonna say,
interesting.
is this like the video game that I saw where they were twins and they're like one was like good and one was
No,
kind of
no.
turning bad?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
that
okay.
was-
That was a pretty
that
cool
was-
game. I don't know.
Yeah, that was
for
the Knights of
that was for the MMO.
Oh,
Knights
okay.
of the Old Republic, which is like a lot of Star Wars fans love, but which is also part of the expanded universe, which got destroyed pretty
By
much
Disney.
by Disney.
Are you guys upset about that or?
I kind of am. There was a
Yeah.
lot of expanded universe stuff that was awesome.
I think but it's probably good for the sake of the movies because now you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Had anyone
Yeah.
watched the animated series that was on Cartoon Network? Like,
Yeah.
does that,
I've
does that
seen
have
some of
anything to
it.
do with like the expanded universe too? Is that what you're talking about?
That stuff's still canon.
Okay,
That
gotcha.
stuff takes place between the prequel movies, like between 2 and 3,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
then also between 3 and 4, I think.
Yeah, the new one, the Rebels,
The-
Star Wars
the
Rebels takes place.
The CG animated one takes place between 3 and 4, and then I think the hand drawn cartoon one takes place between 2 and 3.
Okay.
There's two. There's a hand-drawn one, and then there's the CGI one too.
Yeah. Oh, those are different than Rebels.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The one before Rebels has this very similar style,
Oh, okay.
and it was done between 2 and 3, and then the one before that was animated by the Samurai Jack guys.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was like a prequel to the cartoon after it or whatever.
Right. That one
And it
is
was-
the coolest. That one's by far the best. Like,
Yeah, that is some sweet action scenes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think everybody's generally pretty excited about the new Star Wars and what J.J. Abrams could bring to the table. I'm not a big Star Trek fan at all, and I really enjoy. But from what I hear, like the Star Trek fans were kind of a little annoyed. So that is the one concern I have. Like, is J.J. Abrams and Disney going to go off the reservation and piss off potential Star Wars fans? Because I don't know. I could see that potentially happening, but everything I've seen, I am completely sold on.
Yeah. I'm not as worried about them taking liberties in this because there's no set like what's the word, like, theme.
Mm-hmm.
The prequels are like their own thing. The originals are like their own thing. So even if this one is its own thing, it still kind of makes sense as a whole.
Yeah.
As like a whatever 3-part trilogy, a trilogy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I like
Star
the
Wars,
Treks
man.
too, because I never really followed Star Trek as a kid, so.
Yeah, me neither. Okay. Well, I'm going to go on to our next topic here. And I'm going to go with Ian. The Enigma. And you are muted. So that was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing,
Welcome back.
good thing he moves his hands.
Yeah, I would never know.
Yep. So, guys, sorry about that. I wanted to know, because there's 3 of us that I know for sure that play fantasy football. And I wish Rocco was kind of here to chime in on this because he has a strong opinion on it. But what are your thoughts on fantasy football? This is the second year I've ever started. I actually love it. I don't know why I never did it before. It's interesting. It brings a whole nother dynamic to a sport that I grew up with. And I root for teams and players and stuff like that I never thought I would have root for, So I just kind of wanted to know your guys' thoughts on it. Clay, do you play fantasy football at all?
He's gone.
I mean, Allan, damn it.
No, I don't. I do not. Not really interested in football in general.
Okay.
I watch soccer myself. I have done fantasy soccer before, so I understand kind of the rules of fantasy football.
Mm-hmm.
But fantasy football specifically, no, I am not interested in it. And to be honest, I hate when my friends start talking about it.
Well, now let me ask you this though. So that's pretty interesting that you've done fantasy soccer.
Right.
Like, do you pick like certain positions?
Yeah, so same thing.
How does that work?
You pick a player based on a certain position.
Okay.
And then you have like substitutes, so you can have your substitute squad as well, or substitute players as well. And then you get points based on their goals, their assists, their interceptions, tackles, like all that kind of stuff. Similar things. I think fantasy football has a little bit deeper amount of stats that you can track, but on paper it works exactly the same as football.
Yeah, and I remember Steven's uncle, which is Rocco's stepdad. He played fantasy football back in like the 90s. This is before, apps and everything to track it.
Right.
They would have to sit there and wait for the paper to come out, and then they would tally up all their points. And I remember him having like stacks of stuff and like doing it all, and like it looked like he was doing like this huge math problem. I was like, what the hell is this? And I guess that maybe is why I was kind of turned off on it for so long. And I actually was kind of the same way. Years ago, I'd go and watch football, and all these people are like, oh, rooting for this one guy on the team. I'm like, well, why don't you root for the whole damn team?
Yeah.
And it did annoy me for a while. And then finally last year, I was like, yeah, well, let's give it a shot. Because, like, my brother-in-law and a lot of people wanted to kind of try it. So I actually, my very first year, I ran a whole league. And I just fell in love with it. So I'm in my second year now. I'm finding myself enjoying it more and more. And it gives you not something to do on Sunday, but like instead of just sitting there watching, because I'm a Bears fan, a Chicago Bears fan. And the Bears.
So instead of seeing Jake Locker not care and throw interceptions all day, you can actually care about other players on other teams and be emotionally invested.
There you go. So I know you're a big fantasy football guy too, right, Clay?
Yeah, huge. I absolutely love it. I think it just adds to my love of football because like before this, I definitely cared about every game in the sense that like how it impacted like my thoughts and like my predictions of who was going to make it to the Super Bowl and all this other jazz. But now I'm down to the players and like seeing like it's pretty wild. Like I can go into like, oh, that one defender, he's gotten 8 sacks, he's got 7 rushes, like he's been doing pretty good. Like this guy has gotten 8 targets a game, and he's returning about like a crazy 4.5 yards after catch kind of thing.
Right.
So he's kind of like in terms of like knowledge, like Allan was saying, in depth of what you can go with these players, like it just enhanced that, and it's really fun. And I have a family that I set up, and it just adds like. I mean, with the fantasy football league, it adds a bunch of interaction with family members that I wouldn't normally have. So I'm like, I'm trash talking to my dad, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law's husband, like, and we're all going back and forth, and we're playing each other, and we're seeing each other like make moves. It's really fun, 4 months, 5 months out of the year to be a part of. The draft is super exciting. Like everybody gets together, they hop on Skype, we each pick our guys, and then you know what I mean, like. It's a cool event. It's really fun to do, and it makes the entire Sunday amazing, but also stressful because you're just constantly checking your points.
Well, and that's one thing I really liked is that I'm in a similar league where I have a lot of family in it too, and like last weekend I missed. You can kind of tell from our previous episodes I wasn't there because I actually was hosting a little football event for the whole fantasy league, and we had like a chili cook-off and everything. We're all sitting there just it's fun competition, and you're trash talking and everything, and it brings a little bit of another level of love for my wife and I because last year I went against her and it was down to the Monday night game. And I'm normally asleep before these games end on Monday night. But
in your Super Bowl.
No, not in the Super Bowl. It's like it's just the week that we went up against each other.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there in bed. I'm losing barely, and she's asleep next to me. And my guy catches a touchdown pass, and I win. Like at the end of the game.
Really?
Like, oh my God! So what I did, of course, being me, I go, "Hey, babe," and I like shook her and woke her up. She's like, "What?" I said, "I beat you." She goes, "Fuck you."
Yeah, those experiences are really fun.
Oh yeah.
I had a similar one. I was playing my wife's dad, and it came down to the final play of the final game of the week, and I was like, and it basically went down to this: out of the 24 players on the field, I had one player that had to get this touchdown, and if anybody else scored, I lost. And he ended up taking the ball, hitting a brick wall of defenders, bouncing off and running around and getting the touchdown, like diving in, barely getting it. And I was like, the whole time just watching this, like it was super, super entertaining. A lot of fun. And the other thing that we do is we've incorporated a little bit of the show The League, if anybody watches that, which is basically a comedy sitcom about a group of individuals in a fantasy football league. And the loser gets the Sacco trophy, but what we've done is we've pretty much made a plunger trophy. So whoever loses has to hold this trophy for the year, and they have to etch. In my league, it's me, Sarah, my sister, my dad, Calvin, our friend Matt, who wanted to test this out, Sarah's dad, Sarah's brother, and Sarah's sister's husband.
Okay.
And
That's
one more. We have 10.
Because I'm going to tell you this, okay? In my league, it's me, my wife, my sister-in-law, her boyfriend, my buddy Matt, and my mom and my dad and my sister. So there's 10 of us.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same little setup that we have here.
It's fun.
And this is the first year my mom has ever done this. And, she grew up, I played football for 9 years, so she knows the sport. She's very familiar with it. But she doesn't really watch much NFL. So she's constantly trying to trade every day, like all day. It's like bing, bing, bing. You're like, what the hell are you doing? And then the best part is that when we started this right after the draft, I get a call from my mom the next day. She goes, "Hey, can you do me a favor?" I'm like, "Yeah, what?" I was expecting her to say, "Hey, can you come over and help me haul something away or this and that?"
Yeah.
She goes, "Can you call your wife and ask her to accept the trade?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?"
What was she trying to trade?
It was, she had, oh man, I want to say it was like Bridgewater, and she was asking for, Oh man.
Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers or something.
Yes, something crazy. So, and I tried to snipe Antonio Brown off of her, quite honestly. You know, but,
Nice.
but
Yeah.
so it was really funny because then I tell Taylor, my wife, about this, and she goes, "I feel like I have to do it because it's my mother-in-law. You know, you don't want to go against her." And
Hell no. She can't play that card.
I was like, "This is very cutthroat. You
Yeah.
decline that trade."
Dude, and do you guys have anything special when you win?
We put a little bit of money into it, so just like a little, nothing crazy, but so at the end, we're still trying to figure out what the loser has to do, though. We
Nice.
want the loser to do something.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I bought the other 2 years ago. I bought a belt that was like $100. It's like a real heavy championship belt. It says Fantasy Football Champion. It's like the coolest fucking thing ever. And I haven't won yet, but it just makes me want to win that fucking belt. But that's my motivation. It is with others, and then other people just don't want the plunger. They don't want their name etched on this plunger stick, like for eternity.
Awesome.
Yeah, it adds a lot to it. It's really fun. Cool, man. Well, Steve-O, do you play?
He's muted.
He's muted.
Oh. Everybody get muted.
Get muted. Steve,
You there?
Can you hear us?
No. So, Allan, you only play... No,
Freaking
Steve-O.
time.
There you go. There you go. You were trying to talk the entire time?
Yeah.
You've been muted the entire time.
Is that... You're just like, yeah, these guys are ignoring me.
They're just cutting me off. They're
Talking
assholes.
about, like, I was like, nah, I'll get into it or whatever, but that sucks. What the
I'm
hell?
sorry, Steve. So, what were you going to say?
What I was gonna say was I'm in the same boat with Allan. You know, like I never really got into fantasy football and everything. I'm in it actually this year. The thing is the only reason why I watch football is because of fantasy football. That's it. Like that's the only reason why. If I don't have anybody playing, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna root. I don't like it. I'm more into, just like he said, he's into soccer. I'm more into baseball.
It's boring sport.
No, it's not boring at all. Especially when you
That's
throw the
terrible.
fantasy aspect into it, because you can. You're it's like an everyday thing, not a once a week thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
fun. But the
I mean,
the
that's
one
your
thing I was
opinion.
gonna ask you two guys is like, is it made it more like fun to watch? Like as far as like playing the fantasy, like I know something like my uncle, like he was talking about, my uncle Rocco's dad. He loves football so much that, and playing fantasy football so much that he actually plays a college league too. Now, would you guys be interested in playing college league? Like, is
No.
that how much you love the game, or is it just mainly
No.
because you guys know the players, and that you guys are playing more because of
I'm
that?
just not interested in college.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the NFL. I mean, it's okay. And the thing is that when I sat there and used to watch football, I never jumped up and said, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." You know, I'm like happy. I'm like, "Oh cool, yeah, we scored."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so
But-
fantasy football is making it more interesting.
Dude,
oh my
it
God, yeah. When your guy
enhances it.
scores and you're like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah. Yeah. What's really tough is sometimes you end up drafting players in your division that you don't like, the opponent's team.
Oh,
And so, like, it gets really hard because my team is the Titans, and they could be playing these guys. I'm like, fuck, I need this guy to make a lot of points, but I don't want him to be Titans.
Have you gotten anybody off the Patriots before on your team?
I refuse to draft anybody on the Patriots. I refuse to. I know someone. I used to work with someone. We were in a fantasy football league, and he would not draft anybody because he was a Patriots fan. He would not draft anybody the Patriots would play.
What?
Yeah, so like he could
that's
always
pretty
root for the
good.
so he would always root for the Patriots, and he never have to worry about, like, he would look at their schedule and see what teams they played, and he would never draft anybody on those teams.
Oh, do you draft every week?
No, you draft once, and then you can
So could he only get Patriots players then?
Patriots players. Well, they only play about, like, they have 16 games.
Yeah.
4 of which are repeated, so it's really 12. So it's 12 teams that eliminates players that he can choose from. But he can, he's got the Patriots
How many
and like
teams are
the
there?
32.
Oh. And
So
they
he's
only play
got
16 games a season?
Yeah.
Well, it used to be 18.
No, it was never 18. What are you talking about?
I thought it used to be
Jesus.
longer. I
Oh,
thought it used to be
dude,
longer.
And
yeah,
then the
it's
Super Bowl?
yeah,
Yeah.
playoffs in the Super
Playoffs
Bowl.
and Super Bowl. Yeah.
How many games are in the playoffs?
Oh,
3?
shit.
3. There's the
3.
wild card round, the division, and then the championships, and then
Yep.
you have the Super Bowl. Yeah, dude, it sucks because
How boring.
well, it's not boring. It's
Every-
awesome.
Yeah.
Because every game
counts.
counts. A one
Yeah.
loss is huge, right? And so that piles up really quickly.
Yeah.
But the thing that
Yeah, I'm
really
glad you said it was boring because they said fucking baseball's boring.
baseball is boring. There's way too many
It's not boring
games.
at all.
No games have meaning. You can lose like 50 games and it doesn't matter. You're like, whatever.
But it's about averages in baseball.
Yeah.
Nah. Ah.
Try to hit baseball.
The thing,
That's why
and
it's like if they say somebody bats over 300, that's like amazing, and that's only 30% of the time they hit the ball. Like
yeah, but that's relative. I mean, you have the same emotional impact as you do between 16 games. It just means it's a smaller number. That's all.
yeah,
They're still the same.
the percentages would be higher, I think. The average ratio would probably be higher because on less games to average.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, it would be just a different perspective. that
Right.
you would like
Yeah,
a different number would have the same meaning. But what does suck about the football only being 16 games is that the season is just September to December and it's pretty much over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the playoffs are in January, and then it's the first week in February that the Super Bowl is. So
Yeah.
it's really only 5 months long.
That's crazy.
It sucks because
Soccer season is almost like, I want to say like at least 9 months of the year.
right.
Yeah.
So is basketball and so is baseball, and it blows, man. You wait so many months for this fucking
Wow.
season to start, and then it's over before you blink of an eye.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah,
And I can
but
watch,
it.
and I can watch European soccer, and then in the summer when it's over, U.S. soccer starts. So there's always like some time of the year that I can watch like professional soccer.
Yeah.
So what you do is basically right. So February is the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Then there's nothing, and then March begins free agency, and that's what everybody gets excited about in football because you want to see what guy is going to go where, and then April is the draft, and then there's nothing between May and June. It is just a ghost town, and like football fans get really irritated and pissed off, and like you can just tell. And then when
Preseason.
July comes around, there's training camp, and we get really excited about hearing about how people are doing in training camp. And then August is preseason, like Ian was saying, and those games don't matter except for like the third game. It's like the closest thing to a real thing, and then September starts, and then you go into your playoffs in January.
You know they had
crazy.
Fantasy League of Legends for the World Championships this year.
Oh my
No
God,
shit.
what?
We should have got into that.
They
That would
they
be
have it
interesting.
Hosted by Riot too. Like it's not as detailed. It's not like I don't think it's like
It's
well.
probably killing us.
To be honest, I didn't look into it, but it's like assists and kills and stuff, and you pick like who you think will advance from each bracket and stuff. So it's
Neat.
like a little bit more cut and dry than I think
Yeah.
fantasy football. But
We should
still,
check it
like,
out.
they have like you win the points or whatever, and I don't know.
That's kind of cool.
the next,
bragging
the next,
rights.
The
Yeah.
next championship that they have, let's do that. I think that'd be really cool.
That'll be next year
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, we'll have to do next season.
Well, I thought they have seasons, or is it just yearly that they have
The
those?
season is like basically the year, yeah.
Ah,
So
okay.
Season 6 will be next year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The other thing about fantasy football is that because it can be so it is as stressful as the amount of time and energy you put into
Yeah.
it. But I am a competitor, so I get very into it, and my max is 2 teams. I tried 3 fantasy teams,
Uh-huh.
and that was just way too much. I was a stress ball constantly
Yeah.
throughout the week trying to balance all that, and so I'm in 3 again this year, but last year was 2, and the third one this year was an accident. But whatever.
Yeah, I'm in 2, and I actually just enjoyed having the 2 because I
Yeah.
have a work league and then I have like my
Right.
family league, and
Yeah.
the work league is great because you're at work, and I'm actually going up against one of my really good buddies this week, and we both had one guy playing on Thursday night, and they both
Nice.
absolutely sucked. And I went into work, and we're just sitting there talking about it, and it just brings out like a little bit more camaraderie at work, a little bit of a competition. So it's I enjoy it. I think it brings a whole nother aspect to the game, and I don't know why I didn't start earlier. So.
You have to be pretty vigilant to do it too, though, right? Because you have to like always be on top of like your trades or like stats and who you pick and stuff, right?
Theoretically, but there's been I know someone who has been auto drafted during the draft, which means they don't draft; they let the computer draft for them, and then they didn't touch their lineup the whole year, and they end up winning.
Oh,
Because it's part luck too. I mean, it's how
Yeah,
these
there's
guys
a-
do.
right.
There's so much that goes into it, right? Like people think the draft is all that matters, but that is like a quarter of it, right? The other quarter is like making sure you play the waiver wire because people are constantly getting injured. People are constantly getting demoted because they just don't do well as the new guy who came in the system, and so
Right.
you have to pick up that guy. And then the other part is just luck. Like the people that you pick up don't go to IR
Best
or whatever.
pickup I got all year was Devontae Freeman.
I know that
Oh,
guy's
nice.
ridiculous right now. He was probably on the waiver wire. He probably wasn't even drafted by a lot of people, and now he's
was.
the number 1 running back.
Right.
It's
Well,
insane.
Someone had I picked him up on the waiver wire because one of my running backs got hurt.
And
I
that's
just
how it
decided to pick
goes.
him up.
That's like that luck. You had a need for him at the
But
time. You picked him up.
But I also have the worst luck though because like every year that I've played fantasy football, like my first 2 picks that I pick, always get injured and are
Who-
out for like 7 weeks.
What happened? Who were the injured
Des
players last year?
Bryant stubbed his toe, broke it, whatever. He was gone the first game.
Damn.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh
He's
shit.
out for
This is this year.
Yeah, this is this year, yeah.
I traded Jeremy Maclin for Des Bryant and my sister this year.
So I actually
Got that Des Bryant coming back pretty soon.
in the league that I run. I actually set up the draft and everything, and we had like a little party at my mom's house, and I ended up picking up Tom Brady in the 4th round.
Smart.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
the
that's
4th
good.
round. And then boom, 2 days later, his suspension is lifted, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah,
So
he's killing it too.
yeah,
What did he
Crazy.
get suspended for?
Cheating.
Cheating. Big surprise. Deflating footballs in the championship game last year against the Colts. They found that he had asked the ball boy to deflate the footballs past regulation or below regulation so that he could have a better grip, thus having a better throw, and people can catch
And he
it.
just got a suspension. That's it.
He didn't get shit, actually. They
Actually,
wanted to
yeah.
suspend him for 4 games, and the judge ruled in his favor because he's a pretty boy.
Yep.
And I
Okay.
hate him.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
It's bullshit. I hate the
But hey-
Patriots. A bunch of cheaters.
It's making my fantasy awesome. But my sleeper pick in my other league was Robinson. He's the receiver for the
Allan Robinson.
Yep. Yeah, he's been tearing it
been
up.
pretty good.
So
Awesome. Okay, well, we're going to go on to our next topic.
sounds good.
Was that it? No, that was it.
No, we have one more topic.
Oh.
We have my topic. My final topic. Because Rocco's not here, I got to do 2.
Okay.
So, final topic here is Captain America versus Iron Man, the Civil War. This movie's coming out pretty soon. It's called Captain America: Civil War, and it's taking inspiration from the Civil War comic series. And what I wanted to describe a little bit about what the Civil War was, and I'm curious where you guys would land in this confrontation. Like, what side would you go on, right? So, as a little bit of a backstory, Captain America there's a Freedom Act coming up, right, from the government. They want all superheroes to register their real identity and have to work under the government and be distributed by the government. Each state would have a set amount of heroes controlled by the government. And Captain America is for this registration act. Iron Man is. Captain America is for, obviously, all things freedom, and he doesn't want the government to control what the superheroes do and have to give up their secret identity in fear that, villains would, attack, knowing them, right? That privacy thing that Ian was talking about earlier, being able to know where they live and attack those that they love and their families. And so why this gets introduced is because there's like a group of superheroes in a town fighting a bunch of dudes, and they end up shooting like a nuclear power plant, or like a bomb goes off due to the superhero like missing a villain or whatever, and it kills like a bunch of school children and all this stuff. And people are like, we've had enough. You constantly come in and have these battles in our cities. You pretty much just glorified gang wars going on, and it's killing innocent people, and it has to stop. We need some regulation on this. And so it just blows up into this big thing, and everybody gets into it. And then Captain America and Iron Man are like the two heads in driving either away from this Registry Act or for this Registry Act.
Okay.
So Iron Man, he eventually gets the backing of the government. He's with them. He gets a bunch of other people to back him, and they start hunting down superheroes to capture them if they're not working with the government, because they're at this point criminals. Captain America is leading the charge of fighting as a rebellious group to fight against this government
So
force thing.
Captain America is fighting the government. That just sounds crazy.
Crazy.
Captain America.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But,
Yeah.
that is pretty interesting, and I don't know where I'd land. Where do you land, Clay?
I would definitely land, I think, with Captain America, man. You can't. I don't think I think it is bizarre that he is on that side, but I don't like. What's interesting is that they want to regulate them and reveal their identities, but I don't think it would help the issue, right? You're still gonna have these battles and whatnot. I don't think that you can have them
maybe
be
they're trying
stuck
to,
to a state.
I was gonna say maybe they're trying to regulate it to like, well, okay, well, all right, there's this type of battle in this type of city. Maybe we should send this type of hero instead. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to go for, like relation. But I'm kind of with you too. I would go with more on Captain America's side.
Right.
For this, yeah, because I mean, you're still gonna have the battles and you're still gonna have the city because anything can pretty much happen. Even if you sent the right superhero, you never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's a silly registration act for people to like. They have to sign up. If kids are identity, like they're all now under the thumb of the government, and like it seems like it's just a little bit too much control.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting too because Spider-Man was kind of the POV character that like a lot of this went through because he started out going with Iron Man, and eventually just realizing that this was just way too much like Big Brother-ish. Like they wanted way too much control. They were doing way too much to these like heroes that were like considered criminals. So eventually he flips sides and goes with Captain America, and they end up kind of fighting and winning. They actually don't win in the end, which is interesting.
Who doesn't?
Captain America's team does not win. He is
Spoiler alert.
more spoilers. He doesn't win. He's convicted of all these charges, and he sits in a cell for a long time. And then they eventually bring him out for this trial. That's huge, right? It's being televised. It's the great Captain America fighting the government, and this is probably why they did it, Ian. Right? It is because it's so crazy to think about that. And so as they're having him in handcuffs, they were bringing him to the courtroom, and they're on the steps of the courtroom building, and a sniper shoots him in the head and kills him.
What?
Yeah, so he
Big
gets
fucking
Captain
spoiler
America
alert.
gets assassinated. Yeah, on his way to trial for committing crimes against America.
Who kills him?
Great
Bullseye?
question.
After
No,
all those spoiler alerts, you don't know this one?
I
Yeah.
don't. You're right.
What
I
the
don't.
fuck? Watch
Sorry,
it.
I don't know who
Who
shot
kills
him.
him?
I really
Iron
don't.
Man. kills
I
him.
guess you're gonna have to watch the movie Civil War and find out.
Assassinated Captain America. Yep, there it shows up.
Yeah.
Okay, Crossbones.
Oh, you're right.
Crossbones.
Okay.
Yeah, who's
Crossbones is actually a character that was in Captain America: Winter Soldier, who's going to be in the new Captain America movie as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So-
Red Skull orders it.
Interesting.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson. Yeah. So Cap gets a bullet to the skull, and Bucky Barnes becomes the new Captain America for a while.
So that's how he dies? I mean, in the movies, he's getting shot at like a million times and never gets fucking hit.
I know. And then he just gets sniped in the
Like,
most vulnerable
walking
spot.
down the road.
I thought
It's
he was
crazy.
superhuman. I thought he couldn't, like...
No, I mean he's strong. Where he's not Superman. If he takes a bullet to the head, he's dead.
Oh. That's why he's always wearing the helmet.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
nice.
Okay.
I think I definitely side with Captain America. I feel like that's what you're supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
Because and it's weird too, because Tony Stark, he's this like really anti-government character, right? Like he's the epitome of like I do what I want when I want. He's this capitalist kind of guy, but I think, and you're starting to see this in the movies, he slowly starts to realize. What were you gonna say, Steve?
Yeah, he still starts to realize that he's trying to, like, save the world. You know, basically he's trying to create all these robots and everything like that to save people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think he starts rolling into this like control freak thing where it's like, oh, we gotta regulate. Like we're looking at all these like things we're killing because of our own.
Well, yeah,
I
because
don't know.
initially the government wanted him to turn over the Iron Man suit, and he didn't want to do that. He said he'd be in charge of it or whatever. So
It's really interesting. You're right. That
Yep.
did happen. Yeah. So now he's a hypocrite kind of, or he's
Flipped
just
the
like,
script.
what?
I said he flipped the script.
Yeah, he's flipped the script. Now he wants people to like turn over to the government, right? And like
Yeah.
register them. And we know that Spider-Man is also going to be in this movie, so it'll be interesting to see what his cameo entails, if he's going to be with Iron Man or Captain America.
So like, are like the Guardians of the Galaxy in this one, or like
No, they will not. But they will be in the final Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now.
I never.
you-
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I never really got who that one dude is. The one that you remember the end of the very the
Oh,
the last,
Thanos. Right.
Yeah, Thanos. Like, I never saw him in the comics. Like, he's supposed to be this all-powerful being, right? Because
He-
everything's supposed to be like leading up to these crystals, because they're all popping up everywhere.
Yeah, think of him
Infinity
as like,
Stones.
yeah, Infinity Stones. Think of him like this intergalactic mob boss. Think of him as like an intergalactic Capone. You know what I mean? He's after certain things because he knows about all these different mystical stuff, and he knows that if he gets it, he's going to get a lot of power. He's going to be able to control a lot of things and be very, very wealthy and just kind of rule over. So he is on this crazy quest journey to find all of these mystical stones, so that when they're all combined with this gauntlet, he can just like pretty much troll anyone. He could just roll over and.
Now, is Ant-Man going to be in this this whole movie, whatever?
He's going to be in Civil War. Yeah, actually,
He
there's
is.
been images of whose side is on what, and if I bring it up, I bet you I forget. I think I could find it.
But
Well, you
Superman won't be. It's not DC, right? Yeah. It's not DC, so Superman and everybody's not going to be on it.
Yeah, no. Superman, Batman, they're not a part of that stuff.
So from an earlier episode, you would kind of tell what side I'd be on, which would be Captain America, of course, because I wouldn't want that. Of course, like I said, big brother over my shoulder telling me what to do. So
Right.
that's where I would land.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly. But if somebody was going around and constantly destroying buildings and stuff, would you feel a little bit different, or would you?
Yeah, I mean, if we're putting the mindset of they're actually real, and I know in your world, Clay, they are real, but
They are. What are you talking about?
exactly. Yeah, I guess that would kind of piss me off if I'm just going downtown, to do some work or something, and boom, a building explodes.
God damn.
This,
Yeah.
this whole thing pisses me off. I mean, how do you pick where the battle is and be like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, you guys can't open a portal right here. Can
Yeah.
you just like switch it over here to this side where there's not a lot of people?
You're really screwed
You
up
know what I
traffic.
mean? Like,
It's rush hour
yeah,
already.
yeah, I know. Come on.
I think you're right, Steve. I don't think the government, the Registration Act that Captain America's Iron Man is behind, is really I think it's a situation where they
Doesn't make
think
any
they could do
sense.
better than the heroes. They're like, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. We'll control it. We'll make sure. But like, I feel like the same outcome, and that's why I disagree with it. Is I feel like the same outcome is going to happen. They're still going to have casualties. They're still going to end up fighting where the villains are. Like, it's just now the government's the one calling the shots.
All right, so if they did call the shots and all this stuff did happen, like, do they have to take accountability for it, or is it more like,
Yeah, they would. They would definitely.
all right, so
Yeah.
it's still dumb.
So it's still the same problem. It's just
Yeah.
now, it's just different control. So for the movie, I found the posters. It's Iron Man, War Machine, which
Yeah.
makes sense. The Vision.
Oh, really? The Vision's on his side?
Well, Captain America, or God damn it, Iron Man pretty much created the Vision.
pretty much, but
So that kind of makes sense. But then you also have what doesn't quite
he's
make
on
sense.
the side of the people. I get you right.
No. This is the side for government. So it's Iron
Yeah.
Man, War Machine, Vision, Black Widow, and Black Panther.
Huh.
Black Widow too, huh?
Yeah, which is really interesting because she's like anti-government too. She's like does her
Yeah.
own thing, right? And Black Panther, yeah, he seems it would be weird, but then on Captain America's side, you have Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. You have Falcon. You have Agent 16, and then you have Hawkeye.
Like never heard of like half these
Yeah.
people.
Well, they
Yeah,
were
I haven't either.
they were in Winter Soldier. The Falcon guy, he was also in
Oh.
Ant-Man, and the main villain was the Winter Soldier. He's Bucky Barnes.
Right. But who was the other guy? You said Agent 16?
Oh, she was in Winter Soldier. She was the blonde chick that was like in helping them. She was part of Shield, and then Shield had like the whole uprising thing, and she jumped
Okay.
out.
Okay.
She's Peggy Carter's like great granddaughter or something like that.
What's her
I think-
superpower?
She doesn't have one. She's like Black Widow. She's just or Hawkeye, just regular people.
That sucks. He got like the
Yeah.
worst people. He got like nobody with a
Yeah.
superpower.
Yeah, no, he didn't
No
really.
wonder
Well, Ant-Man, you said, right?
Oh yeah, they do have Ant-Man. You're right.
It's Ant-Man.
I know.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Well, Ant-Man. Watch out for those bullet ants. Iron Man's like, what is this? Yeah. So, and like, it's gonna be an interesting movie because up until now, I don't think we've really had this type of experience where this like hero versus hero thing. Like, it's gonna be really fun seeing. They allude to it with the Iron Man Captain America fight in the first Avengers, right? Where Thor like is in there as well. But I mean, this is hogwash. Like, boom. Like, it's gonna be just like
Yeah.
fucking them punching each other and getting like really into it the entire movie. So
Something pretty interesting that my wife pointed out to me. So Captain America, the guy that is the actor, what's his name?
Chris Evans.
He was actually in Not Another Teen Movie. Do you guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
And he had a banana up his ass.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
He was also Human Torch in the
Yeah.
Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, really?
The Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
It's pretty interesting.
kind of nuts. It's kind of
what-
crazy.
What do you think about like these actors playing multiple different superheroes?
I don't know. I guess it just kind of shows you how like many actors there are in Hollywood. Like there's I don't know, or willing to play those parts because like they do. There's a lot of crossover. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has played Green Lantern. He's played the dude in Blade, and he's
Yeah.
playing Deadpool. He's played a bunch of yeah.
Yep.
Right, again, I mean, you have a lot of people like crossing roles and playing different characters. Chris Evans was also in the Losers thing with the girl who played Gamora, right, in Guardians of the Galaxy. She was also in there. Like, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, but I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. I like it. I think Vin Diesel's up to play this guy called Black Bolt, which would be really cool because he voiced Groot, but him playing Black Bolt would be pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. Yeah. All right. Well, that was the superhero portion of the show. The topic.
Yep.
That topic brought to you by the Maelstrom Gamers with our Facebook page, facebook.com/Maelstrom Gamers. You guys can like that. You can comment. It would be really great if you follow us on Twitter as well. These are all free ways to support us. And if you have a couple extra cash, even as low as $1 kind of lying around, and you listen to us, you like what we got, go on to patreon.com/Maelstrom Gamers and give us that $1. That'd be really great. It would help support the show, and we could put it right back into the show. And you get rewards. It's not just giving us $1. You'll get an exclusive episode of the Maelstrom Gamers Everything and Nothing show just for you for giving us that $1. And then you can also go on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel, and there's a support button there. So if you don't like Patreon, if you're not feeling that, you're more accustomed to YouTube, you can support us with cash that way as well. We're also streaming on YouTube on our YouTube live channel, which is just youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. You can see us stream. We're getting ranked. I think. What are we doing, guys? I know you guys. Our threes are silver. I think Allan, you're doing your pro for gold.
Promos.
Gold promo. So you can watch
Nice.
Allan.
Going on up.
Yeah, you play such characters as Cassidon,
Karma,
Karma,
Graves,
Graves,
Fizz.
Graves.
Fizz. Yeah, you got a really good Fizz. I like when you play Fizz. That's a fun character.
Yeah.
So yeah, hop on. We're doing ranks. Rocco's in it a lot. I know Steve, you guys are playing with him a lot too. So you can, we're not the best. We're certainly not the worst, but we are entertaining. So check us out. We're playing some ranked League of Legends. And yeah, till next week, keep thinking about everything and nothing. It's been an honor to entertain you guys. Peace. Take care. View an exclusive episode that's not on YouTube and that's only on Patreon for like $5 and $10. You'll get like MP3s early, videos early, all different types of stuff. So be sure to check that out. Kind of feel if you're in a given mood. If not, it's okay. There's free ways to support us too. You can go on our Facebook page and like us. You can go onto our YouTube page, subscribe, comment, and you can go on our Twitter and follow us. We have an Instagram account. So there's a lot of different ways. It's super, super helpful. Those of you guys have been doing it so far, thank you so much. It's been really cool to see you guys share our stuff and talk with us, and it's been fun talking back to you about the different things and the podcast topics that we've come up with. So that's the rigmarole. Real quick, before we go into our first topic, Steve, what hot chocolate do you pick? Peppermint or salted caramel?
Salted caramel.
No, wrong. It's always peppermint. There's no better combination.
Yeah.
Okay,
Everybody
so we're going to our first topic, and I'm going to pick on the bad boy. So why don't
There you
you?
go.
Mine was going to be. It says first time any of you broke the law.
Huh.
You guys have any moments of that?
Do you want to start off?
Yeah, I'll start off with this. The first time I did was I remember we were driving cross country from Colorado, moving to Florida. Actually, I was with my aunt, my mom, and my little sister at the time. I remember I had this this bright neon pink jacket overcoat, and I always had the secret pockets on the side, right? You gotta remember the secret pockets.
Yeah.
We go to a gas station, right? And I don't know why or what I was thinking at the time, but like I wanted the Slim Jim, right? And
Yeah.
I asked my mom could I have the Slim Jim, and she said no. She said absolutely not. And I was just
Moms, right?
This.
Dude, tell me about it.
Dude, say no more. You don't even
Yeah.
have to finish. I
Yeah,
understand.
I know.
No.
Huge treat. That was before all the snap to the Slim Jim, everything. It was
Right.
before that. I can't believe it was that long ago though, too. But anyways.
And how old were you?
Oh, I was. Let's see, we're across 9. I was 9. Yeah, 9
Okay.
at the time.
Okay.
And let's see. I was like, I remember at the moment I was sitting there, hat in my hand. I was just carrying it around the store, and she told me to put it back. You know, like mom does, put it back. And I just was like, just went like this and just tucked it in, just right in that pocket right there. And it's giant Slim Jim.
Bad boy.
And
Just sticking out.
Just
Yeah.
walked out. I just remember that and everything. I remember
You didn't
driving
give you give no fucks.
No. I was like,
Hashtag thug life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9-year-old with a Slim Jim. Yeah. Deal with it.
The best part was trying to eat this thing without my mom seeing, because we were on the same car, right? And I wanted that Slim Jim, so I'm like
Yeah, you can't wait to get
unwrapping
home.
it. No, we were driving cross country, so we're like in
yeah,
the middle.
right.
Oh, this is in the middle of Texas, by the way, because Texas was like the longest to drive
Oh
through.
man, they'll kill you for stealing Slim Jim there.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Allan knows he's from the Big Star State.
Yeah,
Lone Star.
Lone Star, Big Star.
Yeah, it's a Lone Star and a Big Star. There's 2 stars. It's on the flag. Yeah, no, it totally is.
It's just Lone Star.
The Lone Star has to be big because there's no other stars to fill the space on the flag.
That's true, but you don't refer to the state as Lone Star.
All right. Well, anyways, I'm sitting there, and I'm like opening the wrapper. Like, I mean, it's quiet in the car. My aunt's driving. My mom's in the passenger seat. I'm behind her, and I'm opening it up, and I just remember going like this, just like eating it, just eating, taking little bites at a time.
It's good technique. I like
And the best part is that I got caught, right? I mean, it wasn't the best part, but my mom's. I took off my jacket because it was getting hot, right? Because we're in Texas, and I remember my mom was like searching through the back seat because I was sitting in the front seat for some reason, and she's like, "What is this?" And she just pulls it out, and I just remember my heart dropped. I'm like, "No."
What did you think was gonna happen?
I thought my mom was gonna beat the shit out of me, honestly. I was so.
Hit.
But if my aunt wasn't there, probably. But
Think she'd rub your nose in the Slim Jim wrapper, get it all greasy.
no. The worst part is that at the next gas station, like this is probably almost in the next state. She made me get out, go pay the money for the Slim Jim, like to the clerk, and tell them what I did and pay them the money. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm telling them like, what? They don't even know. And she's like, exactly, go in there and tell them. And I remember I had to like sit there and say, I stole a Slim Jim, and I put it like right there on the counter and everything. And the lady was like, I can't take the money. And my mom's like, no, you take the money. Like, go like that.
You
know
take
what I
that
mean?
money.
You
take
take that money. I'm trying to give you a lesson. You take that money. And I just remember feeling so bad afterwards, and I never did it again, even if it was like 89 cents or whatever like that.
Yeah.
It was just like, it just felt so bad afterwards.
So you never stole again?
No, I never stole again.
Are you sure?
I'm positive I never stole again.
Nothing you want to tell us?
I mean, unless you
What
count
about this
like...
video I have right here?
Yeah. Steve's like, oh fuck, I don't know, maybe I did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that time. And this video. Oh yeah, and that time too. And
yeah.
There's
A
reason
bank
behind it.
robbery. A bank
That's
robbery.
like, Alan, that's like when you ever watch To Catch a Predator. And,
yeah.
and they get the guy and he's like, no, I never. He's like, yeah, well, what about this joint? He's like, well, yeah.
Right here, yeah.
He's like, well, that time. But that was it. But what about this? Well, yeah, that too, I guess. That was it.
What I consider.
I think I had a very similar experience as Steve when I first committed a crime.
Ooh.
Felony or misdemeanor?
I don't even think it's a misdemeanor. Really. I mean, yeah, it's stealing also.
Yeah.
So
That's-
I think I was even younger than 9. I want to say this is kindergarten or first grade.
So you're like 6.
6 or 7, yeah. And same thing, we were in the grocery store, and you know, I don't know if they do this anymore, but they had the one kind of like little kiosk that had all the different candies. You know, now they have like an aisle that has all the candy, and you can like fill a bag with however much you want. But they used to have kind of like sitting in the middle of like right next to the.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, viewers of all ages, from Allan touching his nose all the way to Canada to the millions watching at home. Welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I am just one of your hostess with the mostest, the icon, the showstopper, the main event, Clayton Kisco, and I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom Gamers. And on this podcast today, we have the bad boy himself, Cop Show's #1 fan, Steve Landis. That was really good, Steve. You got it on that one.
Okay.
What you do? Next up is the Tower, Allan Toner. How's it going, Allan?
Hi.
Hello. And last but not least, the man you can hear, but you will not see until we get $40 more on patreon.com/maelstromgamers, the Enigma, Ian.
Why, hello.
Really good bow. Those for you listening on the
Great,
MP3, make sure you
great
check the
follow-through on
YouTube.
the bow,
You can see his bow. It's pretty good.
Right.
We have a pretty great show for you today. We're going to be talking about some future stuff in honor of Back to the Future's anniversary and the fact that we recently just passed the Back to the Future date, which was pretty cool. We can talk about that. We were talking about some Star Wars, some football, some bunch of different stuff. I'm pretty excited. Before we get into the show, however, we should talk about the format for those of you guys who don't know, right? So, for those of you guys who don't know, the Maelstrom Gamers hop on the Skype. We each bring a topic for your discussion, but more importantly, for our discussion, but more importantly, for your entertainment. And each topic is on YouTube, topic by topic, video by video, released Monday through Friday, and the full episode's on Saturday. And all that's for free. But if you'd like to support us and give us just as little as $1, you can go on to patreon.com/maelstromgamers, and we'll put that dollar back into the show. Only $1, and we'll put it into getting better mics, better equipment, better computers,
Yes,
better internet,
definitely.
better stuff in all the show. And then you get rewards too. By giving $1, we'll give.
Like the fruit and vegetable aisle or something, and they had like little like caramels and like peppermints and everything. So we were walking by that, and I was like, "Mom, I want to grab like some caramels or something," and she was like, "No, you can't have any this time." So sure enough, she's at the checkout line. I like scoot back there, grab one, only one, and it only costs, I think, less than 25 cents if you want to take one. They have like a little jar you can drop a coin in to take it.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
So I just like took it, and then I'm like okay. Like, and for whatever reason, I couldn't wait 10 minutes to eat this thing. So she's walking outside of the store, and I think I'm being like a little clever motherfucker. I take it out of my pocket, I'm holding it in my one hand, and I like spin in front of my mom, so I like face the other way and like put it in my mouth right at that moment, and then like come back around. But like, of course, she sees me. I have like this giant like caramel, that was like this big in my mouth. Like, she's like, "What do you have in your mouth?" I was like, nothing. And she like grabs my hand because I'm still holding the wrapper, of course.
Oh yeah.
She's like her face dropped. I think it was like so stunning to my mom that I would even think about stealing. I think that was like the most shocking part to her. She was kind of thinking like, what happened to my son? Like why would he be doing this? Who taught him this type of thing? Anyway, she did.
I learned it from you, Ma.
Exactly. Oh my god, that'd be awful.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
She made me bring a quarter back into the store, but the worst part for sure was telling the store clerk that I took the caramel. I was like,
Oh wow.
I stole this from over here. I mean, he was just like, I think he was not a teenager or anything. He was definitely a little bit older, and he was just like kind of felt bad. But he was like, okay, well, you can put the money, right over here. But definitely that look that I saw on my mom's face when I turned around and she could see I stole this was something that I'll never forget for sure.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's crazy.
That is bad.
That is
I think I did steal stuff after that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've stolen since then. But